Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Good afternoon and welcome to Football Live on Brilla FM. My name is indeed Alex Guilford. I'm delighted to be steering the Football Live ship once more. You may have heard me on the show back in October, and I'm delighted that producer John, who's on producer duties again today, Barry Swain and the wider production team of assistant producers and the other presenters and reporters clearly didn't think I did too bad a job of it last time. So they have indeed invited me back again. And I'm very grateful that they did so, because we have a bumper edition of the show in store for you. We have got 3 afternoon kickoffs in the Premier League. It's 2 p.m. local time here in the UK, 3 p.m. in Nigeria. We will be getting all the team news from those in just a moment or two. They're all across the capital. All of our afternoon Premier League games are in London today, and those are, of course, Arsenal against Brighton at the Emirates in North London. We've got Brentford against Aston Villa at the G-Tech Community Stadium in West London. We've got West Ham United against Wolves at the London Stadium in East London. And a little bit later on, of course, we've got the big one in the Premier League at 4:30. That is between Liverpool and Manchester United up at Anfield. We also have games across the rest of Europe to bring you throughout the show, including a big one in Scotland, where it's the League Cup final this afternoon between Rangers and Aberdeen at Hampden Park. That kicks off at 3 p.m. local time, 4 p.m. in Nigeria, if that is where you are listening to us from. We will have news from Holland, where Ajax host PEC Zwolle at 4:45, and Germany, where Bayer Leverkusen, high-flying Bayer Leverkusen, host Frankfurt at 4:30, 4:30, that's UK time, 5:30 in Nigeria. Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen hoping to extend their lead at the top of the Bundesliga to 7 points before Bayern Munich play Stuttgart a bit later. We will, of course, be celebrating Nigerian footballers making history this week. Asisat Oshoala and Victor Osimhen were both named CAF Players of the Year 2024 in the women's and men's categories, respectively. We will be getting reaction from both of them later on. But before we do anything else, we are going to get the team news from the Premier League games that have all just got underway. And we're going to start by talking to Richard Bond, who is at the Emirates Stadium for us, watching Arsenal against Brighton, our feature game for the first part of the show. Good afternoon, Richard.
Good afternoon, Alex, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Emirates Stadium, where we've got underway into a fascinating match between second place Arsenal, 8th place Brighton. Arsenal face off today against the side that won here in North London, last side that won you back in North London back in May. On that day, it ended their title challenge with 4 wins out of the last 5, with 3 on the bounce at the Emirates. Brighton have been somewhat of a bogey side for Mikel Arteta's side. Looking to get back to winning ways after dropping off the top of the Premier League table last weekend. Arteta has shown to keep faith with his starting lineup, with many of the regulars rested for the midweek Champions League draw with PSV Eindhoven. So if I run through the Arsenal lineup, we've got David Raya in goals, we've got Ben White and Zinchenko on fullbacks, Saliba and Gabriel centre halves, Odegaard, Rice and Havertz in midfield, with a front 3 of Saka, Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli. As for Brighton, before Thursday's fine 1-0 win over Marseille Europa League, it's been 20 games since the Seagulls have kept a clean sheet. Ironically, coming in that win here at the end of last season. That's been a major issue for Roberto De Zerbi, despite juggling the burden of European football. Brighton like in a credible 8th place, but closing the top 4. Last game, they drew 1-1 with Burnley, but the Italian today now has made 3 changes from that lineup. Veltman, Gilmore and Matoma coming in. Thursday's hero, João Pedro, after taking a heavy knock, is on the bench. So looking through the Brighton's lineup, it's Verbruggen in goals, Veltman and Milner fullbacks, Van der Heck and Dunk centre halves, Gross and Gilmore in midfield, and then 3 behind striker Ferguson is Adringa, Lallana and Matoma. Both sides won each other's grounds last year with 10 goals coming in the 2 Premier League games. I'm hoping for plenty of goals today For now, though, it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much indeed. Richard will be getting updates from the Emirates from him throughout the rest of the afternoon. A chance for Arsenal to apply a little bit of pressure on Liverpool. Before kickoff, they were 1 point behind the league leaders, Liverpool. And obviously Liverpool played Manchester United in the big game at 4:30. Today, later on today, so a chance for Arsenal to apply a bit of pressure. We're going to go to the GTEC Community Stadium now, where Brentford host Aston Villa, and our reporter Paul James is across that one for us. A very good afternoon to you, Paul. What news have you got for us so far?
Well, good afternoon, Alex. Yes, with a win, Aston Villa can go top today if Arsenal slip up. Brentford can move into the top 10 with a victory. 5 changes for Villa, starting with the goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, comes back into the lineup. Douglas Luiz is suspended. Leandro Dendoncker and Jean Doran are moved to the bench. In comes Boubacar Kamara, John McGinn, Diego Carlos and Ollie Watkins. For Brentford, the changes are the Nigerian international Frank Onyeka is on the bench. Also is Shandon Baptiste and Neil Mope, Mads Rorslev, Mikael Damsgaard and Matthias Jorgensen have come in for them. So Aston Villa 0, Brentford 0 to begin with, Alex.
Thank you very much, Paul. And from North London to West London to East London now, where Molly Sumter is at the London Stadium for us watching West Ham United against Wolverhampton Wanderers. West Ham looking to bounce back from their 5-0 loss to Fulham last weekend. Molly, how are things looking there?
Yeah, we've played about 5 minutes here, and you're exactly right. They do need to bounce back from that horrific 5-0 battering. I think that 2-0 win against Freiburg in midweek in Europe would definitely help the West Ham spirits, but they still need to focus on the league here today. That defeat last week was their heaviest Premier League defeat since August of 2019, so they definitely need to look to pick themselves up. There's a couple of changes from either side here today, starting with West Ham. Cresswell is replaced by Emerson on the left-hand side for the Hammers, as well as this Pablo Fornals makes way for Edson Alvarez, who joins the Hammers attack. As for Wolves, Bellegarde takes place of Hugo Bueno, who's dropped down to the bench today, and Dan Bentley fills in between the sticks for the injured Jose Sarr. And a fact for you here today, Alex, Wolves have won none of their last 10 Premier League matches, one on a Sunday. They'll definitely be looking to change that streak today. West Ham definitely controlling the pace of the game in these opening stages, but as it stands, it's 6 minutes in, West Ham 0, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Molly. Fascinating game there over in East London this afternoon. Wolverhampton Wanderers, I think, probably exceeding expectations. I think it's fair to say West Ham probably about par at the moment. Plenty to be positive about, but an incredibly disappointing result, and possibly a bit of an anomaly, that result last weekend, but nonetheless looking to improve their league form. Obviously, Arsenal against Brighton is our feature game of the afternoon. So we're going to hear what Mikel Arteta had to say yesterday when he was asked about Brighton. I think we're going to listen to that next.
That we will try. We will try to play our best, and we love winning. And the team is desperate to do anything that it takes to win games. And we showed that. We showed that against Aston Villa, which, in my opinion, again, we were the better team, and we should have won the game. And we will try against Brighton, which they're gonna make life very difficult for us for sure. They are a really good side. It's true that last year when we had the game under control is when we conceded the goal, and then the game completely broke up, and we struggled. Especially in the last 15 minutes of the game. So we're going to have to play better and be very efficient, which is key against them.
Mikel Arteta there, paying plenty of credit to Roberto De Zerbi's side. The Gunners have good home form at the moment, so they'll be pleased to be playing Brighton at home. They're undefeated in 12 at the Emirates, although the last time they lost at home was indeed that game at home to Brighton back in May. We are going to go to the Emirates now to talk to Richard Bond because there's been an early chance for Arsenal, Richard.
Yeah, it looks a bit of a mismatch going on here. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, but we got Saka against Milner, and he's flying past him in the early stages very quickly every time he's going around. It's about 3 times this occasion. Anyway, he's flown across down to the right hand side and tried to cut the ball back for Gabriel Jesus. He's got the ball stuck between his feet a little bit, trying to get his shot away. Can't quite get there. The defenders just come back, but it was a really good opening for Arsenal. Just after then Odegaard's broken through in the middle after a nice bit of interplay with Havertz. He's found out Saka again down that right hand side. Similar sort of move, trying to get into Jesus, but not quite there again with the final ball. But promising start for Arsenal here. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 after 10 minutes.
Thank you, Richard. We saw James Milner struggling a little bit earlier in the season away at Manchester City, didn't we? Jeremy Doku gave him a bit of a hard time that afternoon, and he was hauled off at half-time. It looks like similar proceedings underway at the Emirates. Ominous signs for Seagulls fans over in North London this afternoon so far, but it's still Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. We're going to cross to the G-Tech Community Stadium and talk to our correspondent Paul James because there's been an early chance there for the home side, Paul.
Yes, Vitaly Janelt got down the left-hand side. He swung the cross in. It took a deflection off Diego Carlos and fell right at the feet of Mikel Damsgaard. Mikel Damsgaard's shot to the left-hand side was decently saved by Martinez, but it is still Brentford 0, Aston Villa 0.
Superb stuff. So still goalless in our 3 Premier League games currently underway here in the United Kingdom. We're just going to have a little quick recap of yesterday's results, just in case anyone needs a catch up on that. On Friday night, of course, I should mention Friday evenings was late kickoff between Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur. That finished 2-0 to Tottenham, and then Bournemouth against Luton Town was abandoned after 65 minutes or so after Tom Lockyer unfortunately collapsed on the pitch. But the early signs that we're hearing in the British media this afternoon is that the entire game is going to be replayed from minute 0 of that tie between Bournemouth and Luton. It was 1-1 when the game was abandoned after 60 minutes. Tom Lockyer, it should be said, he received treatment on the pitch and he was alert and responsive to the medical staff on both sides before being eventually taken to hospital, where he was in a stable condition, and the early signs are that he seems to be well on the way to making a recovery, which of course we're all grateful for. We all send Thomas Lockyer our best here at Football Live. Chelsea hosted Sheffield United. They came out on top as well, the home side Chelsea. That was 2-0. Manchester City conceded a last-minute penalty to draw at home to Crystal Palace 2-2. No Erling Haaland for the home side, but Pep Guardiola was very disappointed with the concession of that penalty, and I think we're going to hear from Pep Guardiola a little bit later. Newcastle United beat Fulham 3-0 at home. Marco Silva is someone we're going to hear from a little bit later on. He was particularly unhappy with some of the refereeing decisions in that game. Raul Jimenez, who had just seemed to be finding his form, he'd just been hitting his stride a little bit in recent games, was shown a red card on the 22nd minute, and then Fulham held tight until around the hour mark when youngster Miley opened the scoring before Miguel Almiron and Dan Burn added a second and third respectively. And then in the 5:30 kickoff, Sean Dyche was back in Burnley, of course, where I think it's fair to say that he made his name as a manager, really. Sean Dyche's Everton side ran out 2-0 winners at Turf. More goals from Onana and Keane, seeing them cruise fairly comfortably to victory. Both goals in the first half, and Burnley did, I think it's fair to say, struggle to really get a sort of a stranglehold on the game, despite enjoying plenty of possession and creating more opportunities, but managing to get fewer on target in the game. So still, Burnley's woes continue. That win, of course, means that Everton, despite their significant points deduction rather, for financial fair play breaches, are now 7 points clear of the relegation zone. The three promoted sides do all seem, as I said, to be struggling a little bit at this stage. We're going to go back to our feature game of the afternoon at the Emirates and talk to Richard Bond, because Arsenal are still dominating but haven't been able to find the breakthrough yet. Richard.
Not quite yet. It's still Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, but they are dominating the play at the moment, and they are playing quite a high press on the Brighton defence, and Odegaard and Saka in particular getting a lot of space in this match. Odegaard was the latest one to have a shot. It just went wide of the post after being found by Saka from that right-hand side again, cutting inside. It was a really decent effort, but just narrowly wide of the post. You can see why Brighton really have conceded in, 20 games in a row, I think it is, before this weekend, before the Europa game they had this week, rather. So it should be an interesting contest here, but it only seems a matter of time before Arsenal take the lead, I feel. It's at the moment, though, it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, 15 minutes gone.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. Just think maybe we're going to get an update from Molly Sumter in a minute or two from the London Stadium in the game between West Ham United and Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're going to go to Molly in a few moments' time, but I mentioned just then that Pep Guardiola was particularly disappointed with his side's slip up at home to Crystal Palace yesterday that saw the Citizens draw 2-2. Let's hear what Pep Guardiola had to say.
No, it's not about luck. So deserve. We give away 2 points. When you, for yourself, you give this penalty, you deserve it. You see the chances we create, the chances we concede, it's quite similar, except Chelsea game all the season. But we are not able to close the game, So playing that way, we don't concede absolutely anything after the goal. Just going Nederson for the yellow card, a part of that didn't do, and until the goal, the 75 minutes, they didn't do anything. So the team was really, really good. But at the end, when you give away the penalty, or you give for the Crystal Palace the penalties, but you don't deserve it.
Pep Guardiola there, a little bit disappointed with his side, but no real complaints in terms of how they performed. Yesterday, we're going to go to the G-Tech Community Stadium to talk to Paul James, because there's been an opportunity again for the home side.
Yes, that's right. Johan Visser got down the left-hand side and nobody challenged him. He got into the penalty area, and that's just as he was about to unleash the shot, Diego Carlos slid across with a fine challenge to put it behind for a Brentford corner. But it's 17 minutes gone here. It's Brentford 0, Aston Villa 0.
Perfect. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. We are going to go to the London Stadium in East London now and join Molly Sumter, get a quick update from the game between West Ham and Wolves. Anything happening yet, Molly?
Yeah, it's 17 minutes gone. It's still West Ham 0, Wolves 0. Quite an even game so far. Both teams having their fair share of chances. Nothing really clear cut, though. Nothing too troubling for either keeper as it stands. There's some great football being played through the midfield by West Ham. Some really intricate little passes to get the attack forward. Nothing, as I said, though, quite clear cut in terms of a chance for them, but we'll see how it goes. It's looking to be an exciting game. Still West Ham 0, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Molly. So in all of our Premier League games, it's still 0-0. Arsenal, Brighton, Brentford, Aston Villa, West Ham, Wolves. Over in France, Lorient are a goal down at home to Strasbourg. Metz are a goal down at home to Montpellier. And the game between Toulouse and Rennes is currently 0-0. In the Bundesliga, there's the early kickoff there is between Freiburg and Cologne. That kicks off in about 10 minutes time. Then Bayer Leverkusen and Frankfurt kicks off at 3. What time does that kick off? I should know that off the top of my head, really, shouldn't I? I think it kicks off at 3:30. We'll be bringing, 4:30 that kicks off. We'll be bringing you updates from Germany as and when we get them. And then later on, Bayern Munich are playing Stuttgart. So both sides at the top of the Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, are in action this afternoon. In Serie A, let's go over to Italy, have a look at the scores there. Latest score I'm hearing is that it's Fiorentina 1, Verona 0, although the goal's been disallowed, I've just been told, so it's still 0-0 there actually. Do excuse me. And then in the Eredivisie, Heracles are currently 2-0 down at home to Feyenoord. That game has just had the halftime whistle has just blown in that game, I should say. And in the game between Sparta Rotterdam and FC Twente, it is still 0-0, although the home side, Sparta Rotterdam, have had a man sent off, so they're down to 10 men. Ajax and Pek Zwolle kick off at 3:45. We'll bring you updates from that. And then the late game there is AZ Alkmaar against PSV. Just to remind you, in Scotland, we will be bringing you updates in about 40 minutes time from the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen. But a score update from La Liga is Almeria 0, Mallorca 0. So no change there at all. A little bit later on, Real Sociedad play Real Betis, Las Palmas host Cadiz, and Real Madrid host Villarreal in the probably most interesting game of the day in La Liga. We're going to go back to the Emirates Stadium and talk to Richard Bond, because there's been a chance for the home side Arsenal yet again, Richard.
Yeah, Arsenal really dominating at the moment. Brighton defending strongly and getting those blocks in at the moment, as you can imagine. Gabriel Jesus is having a bit of time and space on the ball, though. It's going to be a bit worrying for the away side. He picked up a shot from 25 yards just to test the keeper, really, as such. He was quite comfortable for Bruggen in the Brighton goal, but then picked out then about a couple of minutes later by Odegaard, just on the edge of the box. His effort then deflected off Van de Beek just to go just wide of the post. I think that might have gone in if the effort had gone on target, though. So Arsenal still knocking the door. We're midway through this first half, so now it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. And I can announce that there has been a goal at the London Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
We will be getting an update in a few moments' time from our reporter Molly Sumter, because West Ham have taken the lead at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers at the London Stadium, bouncing back, it would seem, from their poor result last weekend, although much improved in midweek in the Europa League, and of course topping their group in the Europa League after an impressive midweek win. We understand that Mohamed Kudus, who we're going to be hearing from a little bit later on, he's continuing his fine form this season and has put his side ahead. So we're going to join Molly Sumter and get an update on that goal, the opening goal from Mohamed Kudus.
Yes, West Ham 1, Wolves 0 on 22. It's summing up how West Ham have performed so far this game. It was a really well-worked goal. Lucas Paquetá lifting a ball over the Wolves defence. It came from a Wolves corner, actually, that was defended away, and West Ham just really hit them on the counter-attack. Lifted over to Mohamed Kudus, who pulls an amazing strike from just outside the box and finds the bottom right-hand corner of the Wolves goal. It's a fantastic strike and exactly what West Ham needed to capitalise on how they've played so far this half. It's 22 minutes gone. It's West Ham 1, Wolves 0.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Molly. Mohamed Kudus, the Ghanaian forward signed in the summer from Ajax. continuing his fine club form, the £38 million winger on the score sheet again. This is Football Live.
You are listening.
You are listening
You are listening
To Football Live.
to Football Live
to Football Live.
on Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Liverpool take on Man United at Anfield, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to €1,000. Whether you back Klopp's Reds or Ten Hag's Red Devils, you will be eligible for a free bet regardless who wins. All you need to do is log into www.nairabet.com, bet on Liverpool versus Man United. Receive your free bet to use on any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18. Minimum odds of 1.50. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
There's a goal, there's a red card, Josh Bailey is screaming, it's a nightmare cause Chelsea are losing again. Chris Baldwin is happy, John Kaynard's off chatty, happy Christmas to the listeners on Brila FM.
Merry Christmas from everyone at Football Live.
Football Live is back on Brila FM next Saturday from 10 to 4 in the afternoon. A huge match at Anfield as Liverpool take on Arsenal. Tottenham Hotspur are at home against the in-form Everton. And we will have a featured match in both Spain and Italy involving Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan. Join us next Saturday afternoon for festive football action right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM. The goals, the team news, all the updates, all the key action, scores from around Europe's top leagues, exclusive interviews, breaking news.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
We have an early Christmas cracker for you next Sunday afternoon. It's the Football Live Christmas special with myself, Barry Swain, and we'll have Chelsea in the thick of the action. They take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League at Molineux. We'll also have some SPFL action to get our teeth into, Motherwell against Rangers. And we go all festive. We're not going to be eating turkey, we're going to be going to Turkey. The Turkish Super League, Demirspor against Antalyaspor, and there will be 3 Nigerian players playing in the Azerbaijan League. Don't worry, we've got it all covered next Sunday afternoon and the Football Live Christmas special. Be sure to join me, Barry Swain, next Sunday from 1:30 in the afternoon.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
I'm sad to say you're not listening to Football Live with Josh Bailey. You are listening to Football Live with Alex Guilford. That is me. 27 minutes or so of our Premier League games have ticked by. It's still Brentford 0, Aston Villa 0. The odds on NairaBet at the moment are 3.1 for the win for Brentford, 3.1 for the draw, or 2.5 if you fancy an away victory for Aston Villa this afternoon at the G-Tech Community Stadium. That is still goalless. Arsenal against Brighton is still goalless, and West Ham are 1-0 up at home to Wolves. Currently West Ham are 1.33 for the win, 5.25 is the draw, and 10.0 if you fancy a win for the away side, Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are currently a goal down at the London Stadium. We are going to cross to the G-Tech Community Stadium actually, and have a quick chat with Paul James, because it sounds like the away side Villa are very much in the ascendancy still at the moment. Paul, what can you tell us?
Yes, 2 quick opportunities for Villa. Cross came in from Alex Moreno down the left-hand side with Matty Cash on the back post, unable to divert it into the goal. And Jacob Ramsey just got into the penalty area and skewed his shot wide just down the right-hand side. But with 29 minutes gone, it is still Brentford 0, Aston Villa 0 here.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Just to remind you, all of the odds I mentioned, of course, were subject to change and all from NairaBet. We're going to cross to the Emirates Stadium, where it sounds like a slight change of tack has been brought into play by the away side, Brighton, Richard Bond. It's turning into a bit of a physical game from there.
Yeah, not very Brighton-esque usually. It's still Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, but Brighton have gone for plan B, I think, a little bit. Milner, he can't get near Saka, and he's brought him down. He's in the book now, so he's going to have to be careful. A really bad challenge. It was really high. He's taken out the winger, and, Saka's back up. He's okay. He's fine. Continued into the action, but then we've just seen Gilmore clash with Jesus with a bit of a flailing arm, and it's getting a bit niggly as such. Brighton, in the meantime, have lost Veltman. He's gone off and replaced by Hinchelwood now on the other side, the other fullback. But they're getting back into this match slightly, but Arsenal look the more lively at the moment. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, 30 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Richard Bond. We're going to go to the London Stadium and talk to Molly Sumpter, because there's been a chance for the away side, Molly.
Yeah, it's still West Ham 1, Wolves 0, but Wolves definitely coming up with the response they needed to that West Ham goal. Mateus Cunha has easily weaved through that West Ham defence and unleashed a shot from just outside the box. His effort's gone towards the bottom left-hand corner of Fabianski's goal, but it has forced an incredible save from the West Ham keeper, and he palms it away for a corner. But Wolves definitely pushing more on the attack and looking to come up with a response to that West Ham goal. As it stands, it's still half an hour gone. West Ham 1, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Molly. Just to remind you, it is Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 currently, Brentford 0, Aston Villa 0, West Ham 1, Wolves 0. As Molly just updated us from, a little score update from the Eredivisie. It's half-time now in the game between Sparta Rotterdam and FC Twente. Sparta Rotterdam down to 10 men. And they're a goal down now as well. So it's 1-0 to FC Twente at half-time in the Eredivisie. Where else can we go in Europe at the moment? We go to France, where it's still Lorient 0, Strasbourg 1, Metz 0, Montpellier 1, Toulouse 0, Rennes 0. No change on the scoreline in any of our Premier League games, but maybe let's have another chat with Richard Bond, who's at the Emirates Stadium for us. Be good to get Richard's thoughts on how do you weigh up Roberto De Zerbi's side's performance so far this season, Richard? Because they play some pretty front foot football. You said it was getting a little bit attritional now, going slightly more heavy-handed in their approach. But they're such an exciting team to watch, with an exciting array of young players, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. Brighton are brilliant to watch. They're good on the eye, as are Arsenal, of course. And this will make this game quite entertaining. But to get something out of a match like this, I think sometimes you're going to have to change your tact. And De Zerbi is slightly just maybe looking at how he's going to break down this Arsenal team. So Arsenal tried that really high press to get off Brighton early doors, but they've come through that heavy period. At the moment though, it's interesting to see. But I think there's been a goal somewhere else, is there, Alex?
There has indeed, Richard. Thanks for handing back to me. It is Mohamed Kudus again. There's been another goal, therefore, for West Ham.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, Mohamed Kudus continuing his fine form, not just this season, but today. He's got a second goal for his side, so we'll be crossing over to Molly Sumpter for an update on that one, and we'll be finishing off that conversation I was having with Richard Bond about Brighton. But let's go to Molly. Molly, what can you tell us about Mohamed Kudus' second goal? Was it as good as the first?
Well, funny enough, Alex, it was almost identical to his first goal, in the sense that it was another counter-attack. Wolves pushing forward, West Ham sneak the ball back and bring it. It's Paquetá again, who's lifted the ball over all of the Wolves players. Kudus gone on a solo run and again unleashed a long-range shot, which has easily flown past the Wolves keeper. They're having a shocker, Wolves, because they're getting caught out in places where they could be producing something. But it's hilariously close to what the first goal was. And even seeing this back again, it literally is the same goal again, the same link up between those two players. It's a brilliant start for West Ham. It's 32 minutes gone. West Ham 2, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much indeed. Molly Mohamed Kudus with his second goal of the afternoon. What a signing he has been. He was from the Right to Dream Academy initially. That's where he started his footballing journey in Ghana, the same academy that produced the young winger Adingra, who's I think he's on the substitutes bench for Brighton this afternoon. We are going to cross back to the Emirates where Richard Bond has an update because the home side should be ahead, Richard.
Oh, glorious opportunity for Arsenal, and what a miss really from Martinelli. Odegaard's played an absolutely tremendous ball with the outside of his left foot. He's just curled it round the defender in between the two centre-halves. He's found Saka, and unselfishly, Saka's run through. He squared it off to Martinelli, and he's just blazed it over the bar. Oh, unbelievable miss. Really, Arsenal really should be ahead here, but they're not, and it's still level here. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, 35 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Richard. We're going to stay with you for a second, if that's all right. See if we can get Richard back on the line. Yeah, hi, Richard. It's interesting that you're talking in very sort of high praising terms about Brighton. Interesting one with Arsenal this season because they haven't really kicked into gear yet, and yet they are very much in and amongst it in terms of pressing. I mean, for pressing Liverpool at the moment for a place at the top of the Premier League table. Interesting that they haven't really been able to click and yet still finding plenty of form. We say quite often that that's the work of champions, if you like.
It's a strange old season, to be honest. We've had there's a lot of teams up there this season. You know, Liverpool have looked really good at home. They've won all their games. Arsenal have been good at home. They've only dropped points, a couple of draws there. Away from home, maybe not so great, but at the same time, Aston Villa is surprised. You know, winning last week, no one really seen that coming. They're up in third, and Manchester City haven't really hit gear. I think that might be the big thing really this season is Man City down in fourth. Who'd have predicted that? So it's going to be a really close title race, and I think it's going to keep changing. It's just going to be exciting week by week. But thing with Arsenal, you know, you look at today's game and you think these are the games they're going to want to win over the season. You know, they haven't done it in the last couple of years, and it was one of those crucial games in that run-in to the end of last season, which really cost them dear. So it's going to be an interesting race, and we're coming up to that big Christmas period now where games are coming thick and fast, but without Europe, so it'd be interesting to see what happens from here. But at the moment today, now we're approaching that half-time period, coming out about 8 minutes to go here. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. So just to remind you of the scores in our Premier League games this afternoon, our feature game between Arsenal and Brighton is currently still 0-0. Brentford against Aston Villa is also goalless, but West Ham United are 2-0 up at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Mohamed Kudus, a superb young African footballer, the young Ghanaian, in fine form for his club side. So too, of course, Asisat Oshoala and Victor Osimhen, two fine young African players, and have been recognized as such this week by being nominated as the men's and women's CAF Players of the Year in their respective categories. Of course, we're going to hear what Asisat Oshoala had to say in the wake of her awarding of the award, if that's a sentence I can say. Over to producer John.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. This night, I would love to use this opportunity to thank everyone who's been part of my journey, from grassroots football to national level to club side. Because without you, my coaches, my teammates, there will be no me. Football is a team sport, it's a team game. And I will urge all the federations in Africa to please come together. Let's work together and build our continent. Let's make it the best in the world.
Asisat Oshuwala there with some stirring words following her awarding of the Women's Player of the Year by CAF last year. The Barcelona forward has an incredible record in La Liga Femenina, as I believe it's referred to in Spain. She's got 83 league goals in 89 games there. Truly astonishing athlete. And her and Victor Osimhen, a credit to their country. I'm sure you'll all agree. A credit to Nigeria and Nigerian football. We'll hear from Victor Osimhen a little bit later, but we're going to head back to the Emirates before we do that, because Richard Bond has news for us of another chance for Arsenal again, Richard, but still no goal.
It does sound relentless, and it is really. Arsenal keep pushing forward, and they're not quite getting there. And it was, those golden fingers of Van Bruggen, who's kept out Martinelli really in this first half. Now really getting a really strong hand on a shot from acute angle after Zinchenko had played him through on the left-hand side. It was a relatively decent opportunity for Arsenal, really. He was in quite a bit of space, but that's two from Martinelli. Now, will they be punished further down the line in this game when the game gets a bit more open? But for now, it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 with 5 minutes to half-time.
5 minutes to half-time at the Emirates, still goalless. Somehow we're going to go to Paul James at the GTEC Community Stadium, because there's been another chance there, Paul.
Yes, Aston Villa's defence caught out once again. Mikkel Damsgaard went charging down the left-hand side. He played a beautiful ball into the middle, and Yohan Wissa, the Democratic Republic of Congo international, slid in and was just a hair's breadth away from making contact and giving Brentford the lead. It's Villa that can go top tonight, but it's Brentford looking the better team so far. It's still 0-0, 5 minutes to half-time.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. We have got still no goals to bring you in our feature game of the afternoon between Arsenal and Brighton. No breakthrough yet either there at the GTEC Community Stadium, but it is, as we've mentioned a couple of times already, West Ham 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, thanks to 2 goals from the magnificent Mohamed Kudus, who is in fine fettle at this stage. Our feature game of the afternoon between Arsenal and Brighton. You can get odds on NairoBet of 1.6 for Arsenal for a home win, 3.75 for a draw, and 7.00 now if you fancy an away win. Of course, all odds are from NairoBet and subject to change. We're going to quickly cross to one of our other games, our game in East London, but we're going to go back to West Ham against Wolves, because Molly Sumpter's going to tell us about a chance for the away side trying to get themselves back in the game.
No, it's exactly that, Alex. I think Wolves are trying to come up with that perfect kind of comeback to these 2 early goals they've conceded. They're scrapping for shots in the West Ham box. The ball's flying everywhere. West Ham doing a good job of keeping it away from the goal. Nothing really clear to trouble Fabianski too much, but Wolves definitely having the majority of the possession for the last kind of 5 or 10 minutes or so, keeping themselves in this game and probably just trying to get through until half-time without conceding any more goals. I think a stat came up for me that Paquetá has had the most touches so far in this game, definitely been one of the most influential players for West Ham, getting assist on both of those Kudus goals, but definitely it is shaping up to be a very interesting game. It's still West Ham 2, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. I think we're going to stay with you for a second and just, if we can go back to Molly Sumpter. There she is. Hi, Molly. Just ask you a question about the away side, Wolves. I did mention earlier that it looks like they're sort of exceeding expectations, I think, if we're being completely honest. I think when they didn't exactly invest in many transfers over the summer, which was a big bone of contention for Lopetegui, and then they appointed Gary O'Neill. I think a few eyebrows were raised over that. I appreciate they're not having the best of afternoons against West Ham, but all in all, I think Gary O'Neill, most people would agree, has done a pretty good job there.
Yeah, I definitely think he's shaping Wolves up to be a really strong side. They're a side that definitely any team you go to Wolves or you face them at home, they are somebody who is going to be competition for you. They can produce goals. They've got the likes of Hwang Hee-chan, who's been absolutely superb this season. I think they are definitely a side that still needs work and needs to build, but I think Gary O'Neill with some good time definitely can bring the best out of this Wolves squad.
Yeah, and obviously they're missing Pedro Neto through injury at the moment. How has Pablo Sarabia looked in his absence? Because he scored a magnificent goal a couple of weeks ago.
I think he's definitely doing a good job. They're big boots to fill, and obviously he's a very key man for Wolves. But I do think Sarabia is doing a great job of filling in. He's doing what he needs to do, and I think he is holding Wolves together a little bit, as well as all of the other key players that we've mentioned. But yeah, he's doing a good job. But as it stands, it is still West Ham 2, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Molly. We'll be hearing from you again a little bit later, but there's finally been a breakthrough at the G-Tech Community Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And we're going to cross straight over to Paul James to get an update on that goal. Paul, what can you tell us?
Well, it's not surprising. Brentford have dominated most of the first half. This goal came from a corner swung in that bounced off Johan Rissa and came straight to Lewis Potter right from the penalty spot. He drills it into the right-hand corner of Martinez's goal, and that left the Golden Glove winner just standing there. It's Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0. We're in injury time at the end of the first half.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. We're going to take a brief pause from our Premier League updates and talk to Mark Thomas, who is up in Scotland. Mark is going to be reporting on the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen. Mark, you've got some team news for us.
Yes, I have indeed. Welcome to Hampden Park. 11 degrees here. Typical Scottish December day. Rain is falling heavily. Rangers start off with Jack Butland in goal. James Tavernier captains the team. He's got 13 goals this season. Goldson comes in for Suter. Leon Balogun from Nigeria plays in the middle of the defense. Barisic is the other fullback. Midfield, we've got Lundstrom. Sterling, he's playing instead of Fuentes, who's also injured and suspended at the same time. Todd Cantwell, the ex-Norwich City player, of course. He's back. He's fit again after missing out in midweek in Europe. The front three, Sima from Senegal's got 13 goals. McCausland and another great Nigerian, Cyril Dessers. He's got 7 goals already this season, and he'll be hoping to add to that today. For Aberdeen, we've got Roos in goal, Devlin, Shinnie. Jensen comes in for Milne, Gartanema, McGrath. He's got 7 goals already this year. Miovski, easy for me to say. He's fit again, thankfully. He passed the late fitness test on Friday. He's got 9 goals already for them this season. Clarkson, Hayes, Sokler, and Rubizek is in for Duke. Looks as if we're going to have a great game here. The crowd, it's a big rivalry, this one, so we're looking forward to the start of it.
Thank you very much indeed, Mark. We'll be getting updates from Mark throughout the afternoon. That game between Rangers and Aberdeen here kicks off in about 12 minutes time. We're going to cross back to the G-Tech Community Stadium, where there's been a possible moment of controversy. Paul James, what can you tell us?
Yes, the pass from Christian Norgard to Johan Rissa. Now, Johan Rissa was definitely offside, but it was a really lovely finish past Emiliano Martinez. Brentford threatening, and Johan Rissa is, the way he's playing today, Villa are just unable to handle him. It's still Brentford 1, Villa 0, a goal disallowed.
So a goal disallowed for Brentford at the G-Tech Community Stadium for offside. Brentford just narrowly missing out on a chance to double their lead against Aston Villa. 4 minutes of stoppage time currently being played in at the Emirates. 4 minutes being played at West Ham against Wolves, and just 3 minutes of injury time in that game between Brentford and Aston Villa in West London. It's half time in Serie A between Fiorentina and Verona. That game is still goalless. But Udinese are currently 1-0 up at home to Sassuolo in Serie A. So good news for the Udinese Ultras over in Italy. There's been, we're going to just cross briefly to the GTEC Community Stadium. We're going to cross back to Paul James because there was a chance for Aston Villa just before the half-time whistle blew, Paul.
Yeah, nearly a sucker punch there. Jacob Ramsey picks up the ball in the middle of the park. He goes completely unchallenged to the edge of the area, strikes a shot, and it's a wonderful save by Mark Flecken, flying to his left-hand side to keep Brentford's lead intact. It's half-time here, actually. It's Brentford 1, Villa 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Just waiting for the final seconds of injury time to be played in our feature game between Arsenal and Brighton. Currently still goalless. Brentford v Aston Villa is still goalless as well, as Paul has just updated us with, and we're still waiting for the end of the first half to be called in the game between West Ham United and Wolverhampton Wanderers. We'll be crossing back to all of our correspondents for a half-time report once the whistles blow in all of their respective games. Just to remind you what else we've got in store for you here on Football Live on Brilla FM this afternoon. In about 10 minutes time, we'll be covering the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen, and then in around an hour's time we'll be bringing you updates from Ajax against PEC Zwolle in the Dutch Eredivisie. Luke Charlton is across that one for us, and then the big one is at 4:30. That's Liverpool against Manchester United at Anfield. Of course, Jack Hesson will be bringing us team news in about 40 minutes time, and then we will also be updating you from Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt. Billy Andrews is going to be at that one for us. That game kicks off at 5:30 Nigerian time. I think I was just giving you the local times here in the United Kingdom. We're of course an hour behind you guys in Nigeria. But we're going to cross back to the Emirates Stadium, I think, if Richard Bond is still with us. Richard, there was a bit of a fracas before the end of that half. Things, as you mentioned, getting a bit heavy-handed, but at half-time it's still 0-0. Arsenal are pretty unfortunate by the sounds of this.
Yeah, well, it's half-time here at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, and yeah, the fracas I was on about really as such was it was involving. There's been a few kind of tetchy fouls going on. Like I said, Brighton have really put themselves about a bit at times, and Cairo Matoma went into the book for pulling back Saka. It was cynical, really, as such, and it was a deserved yellow card. Just got up Mikel Arteta's skin a little bit. You know, it's his fourth booking of the seasons, really. He's got to be careful. He served a ban the other week, really, for kind of losing his rag a bit. And, you know, I think, is that a tactic opposite Manchester trying to do? Wind Arteta up, really, to disturb the Arsenal flow? But it was something anyway. But a couple of bookings there in that first half, just to end the play, and Brighton level at the break. But it's big story of the half, really, such. Gabriel Martinelli had a really good chance about 8 minutes before half-time. Saka and Odegaard been so great in their play in midfield, picking out passes and finding space. Martinelli had it on a plate after Odegaard's ball was played through to Saka. He squared it across. Martinelli shot over the bar. I think that's the difference between the two sides at the moment, really. Arsenal have that really good attacking play, but lacking that cutting edge. Brighton holding in there, and they will look in the second half and they will think, we've gone in level at half-time 0-0, and we can still win this game. But at half-time, though, it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. We're going to get a brief update from Molly Sumter, a little summary of the first half from the London Stadium. West Ham, 2 goals to the good, Molly.
Yeah, West Ham having a brilliant first half. I think they ended that half with a really, really big chance for Jared Bowen, who just danced around Lamina and managed to pick out a central shot that just bounced and rattled off of the right post, went across the face of the Wolves goal. Really, really unlucky there. I think it was a almost scrappy first half, but both teams showing real desire. We had a couple of bookings at the end of that half for Zuma and Totti as well. But a very, very interesting half here, and it's ended West Ham 2, Wolves 0 at the break.
Thank you very much indeed, Molly. A fantastic game unfolding at the London Stadium between West Ham United and Wolves. A scintillating second half in prospect at that one. Just to remind you, it's Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0 at half-time at the G-Tech Community Stadium. And it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. And we're going to hand back to the capable hands of Tony back in Nigeria. We'll be back with you before too long.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Hello, welcome back to Football Live. Great to hear things getting a little bit heated in the studio with Tony and that caller talking about Arsenal. Arsenal, in Tony's eyes, very good in the Premier League, but not good enough in Europe. That game, their game between us, the game between Arsenal and Brighton, at the Emirates Stadium is back underway. Now we'll be getting an update from Richard Bond before too long, but before we do that, we're going to go to Paul James at the G-Tech Community Stadium because there's been a real moment of controversy, particularly in your eyes there, Paul.
Yes, absolutely. Christian Norgard can consider himself very, very lucky to still be on the field. His challenge on John McGinn was studs up right down the back of his calf to his ankle. And, well, to be honest with you, VAR looked at it, but chose to only give the yellow to Christian Norgard. He's very fortunate in my mind. Start of the second half, though, it's Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0.
Thank you very much, Paul. That means we will cross now to the Emirates Stadium for our feature game of the afternoon, an update from North London, courtesy of Richard Bond. Richard, 3 or 4 minutes played so far in the second half. Is it shaping up in the same way as the first did, with plenty of Arsenal domination, or perhaps the away side in the ascendancy?
Arsenal started quite well in the second half. Yeah, they've had the better of the possession without really creating too much to note as of yet. But this game, I'm sure, is going to open into life now as we start to see more spaces coming. Don't forget that Brighton have scored in the last 32 league games in the Premier League. Incredible record, really, such a thing. And do that again today, they might get something out of this match. Arsenal themselves having such a good home record this season now, winning 6 out of 8 games at home, drawing the 2. So hopefully this second half will be quite lively. We'll have plenty of goals like we did here last year with about 10 in the 2 fixtures. But at the moment, though, it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. And then that means, of course, we have to cross to East London to catch up with Molly Sumter, where the second half is underway between West Ham and Wolves. Molly.
Yeah, West Ham came out as you would expect them to, off of the high of that first half performance. Very much pressing again. Lucas Paquetá and Mohamed Kudus getting involved as they did twice to great success in the first half. Nothing really clear-cut in terms of chances as of yet, but it's definitely going to be a brilliant second half here. Jarrod Bowen scored the last goal against Wolves in West Ham's 2-0 win last October. So we'll see if he can bag another one here today. And if you actually fancy there to be over 2.5 goals, you'll get 2.38 for that. So if you think Bowen will get the last goal again, that's your money. And that's all subject to NairaBet and subject to change. But it's 48 minutes on the clock here in East London. It's West Ham 2, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. We're going to go up to Scotland and have a catch-up with Mark Thomas, because he's keeping an eye on Rangers against Aberdeen in the Scottish League Cup final. And there's been an opportunity for Rangers, Mark.
Yes, they had a chance there just in front of goal. It was deflected over. Gomez scramble, which McGrath was able to clear after that. The long-range shot from Sterling. Didn't look as if it was going in, but as I said, it was deflected. Since then, we've had a foul Cine on Cantwell. Cantwell has been very, very lively. This game's kicked off at about 100 miles an hour, to be honest, Alex. Tavernier, Cantwell, Lundstrom, all very, very heavily involved for Rangers. Right now, after 10 minutes, it's still Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. Mark Thomas there is at Hampden Park watching the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen. Just to remind you of the scoreline of our Premier League fixtures this afternoon, it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 still, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0, West Ham 2, Wolves 0. In the Nigeria Premier League, it's Heartland FC 0, Akwa United 0, Lobi Stars 1, Doma United 0, and Sunshine Stars FC 0, Gombe United 0. We will be getting updates in about 45 minutes time or so from Luke Charlton, who is in Amsterdam for us. We'll be getting updates from the game between Ajax and PEC Zwolle. Ajax have had a pretty dreadful start to the season, or had a pretty dreadful start to the season, but have been much improved under their new manager. And then, of course, later on, we have got Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt and Liverpool against Manchester United. But there has finally been a goal at the Emirates.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
That's right. Arsenal are a goal to the good. Their pressure has finally paid off, and they have snuck lead early in the second half at the Emirates Stadium against Brighton. Gabriel Jesus has got the goal there, so we'll be crossing over to Richard Bond in a few moments' time for an update on exactly how that goal came about. But before we do that, I'll just round off what I was saying before that goal update, which is that we've got Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt, high flying Bayer Leverkusen host Frankfurt at 5:30. And it's Liverpool against Manchester United at 5:30 as well. Jack Hesson is going to be updating us from Anfield. And a fascinating game in prospect. Man United in a rotten run of form. We're going to hear what Jurgen Klopp thinks about that before too long. But a score update from Serie A is inbound now, because it's Udinese 2, Sassuolo 0. So the side from Udine, 2 goals to the good at home against Sassuolo, who started the season in fine form but have been out of luck a little bit recently, are certainly bang out of form again now. But enough about Serie A, and on to our feature game in the Premier League at the Emirates Stadium, where Arsenal have finally found a breakthrough. Here's Richard Bond. Richard.
Yeah, Arsenal finally take the lead. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, and it's Gabriel Jesus who scored the goal. And not really an Arsenal-fashioned goal, and Brighton will be really disappointed with this one. It was from a set piece. Ball came in from a corner, and the keeper has gone out to try and get it. He's sort of Van Heck's also gone up for it. He's half cleared it. He's flicked it towards the back post, and there's Gabriel Jesus there just to head home from close range. Really disappointing stuff from Brighton, but Arsenal have thoroughly deserved this goal on merit from their play so far in the game. At the moment, though, it's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, 54 minutes gone.
Thank you very much. Arsenal able finally to clinch a breakthrough at home to Brighton there. What that does to the change of odds on NairaBet. If you fancy Arsenal for the win, you can now get 1.15 on that, so pretty short odds. But if you fancy a draw, that's 7.5. An away win now. A win for Brighton is currently 26.0. So NairaBet not particularly fancying the away side's chances this afternoon now that they've gone a goal down. All odds are courtesy of NairaBet and are, of course, subject to change. It's, as I said, still Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0. Brentford 1.62 for the win, 3.6 the draw, 6.5 for a Villa win. So the away side in that game slightly more fancied than Brighton are. Villa's chances seem to be a little bit better than the Seagulls do. As for West Ham, they're currently 2-0 up at home to Wolves, and a home win will currently they'll currently lay you at 1.06 NairaBet, a draw 15.0, and an away win for Wolves. It would be a hell of a turnaround, wouldn't it? They'd need at least 3 goals. That is currently 41.0. As for in Serie A at the moment, Udinese against Sassuolo, in which Udinese are currently 2 goals to the good. That game is currently, odds are currently suspended on that one, so I can't bring you an update. But Fiorentina at home to Verona. Fiorentina currently 2.38. 2.38 is also the draw. Verona are 5.0 at the moment. All odds courtesy of NairaBet, and of course, as I said, subject to change. We're going to cross back to the Emirates Stadium and talk to Richard Bond again, because Arsenal have just gone a goal to the good and remain very much in the ascendancy, Richard.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for a second at the moment now. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, and this time with Martinelli really flying down that left-hand side, easily beating his marker, putting in a low cross, which Milner's just about managed to get a touch to turn behind. The following corners come in. Jesus again won it way too easily from Saka's corner. Does really well to kind of get the header back across goal. It's half cleared. There's Odegaard on the edge of the box. He's just smashed the volley, but it's sailed just over the bar. Arsenal 1 to the good at the moment. No, Arsenal 1, Brighton 0 with 57 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Richard. I was updating you on Udinese against Sassuolo. The reason the odds in that game a few moments ago were suspended is because Udinese have had a player sent off. They've had about an hour played now, and Udinese 2 goals to the good, but down to 10 men at the moment. We're going to head to the London Stadium and get an update from Molly Sumter, because the away side Wolves certainly seem to be, seem to have bucked their ideas up, I think it's fair to say, Molly.
Yeah, it's still West Ham 2, Wolves 0, and West Ham did come out in the second half kind of on top and having a bit more pace to them, but Wolves have grown into this second half, definitely applying some pressure to the home side. Wang Hee-chan having his fair share of chances and touches within the West Ham box. Nothing really coming to fruition for them yet, though, but definitely challenging West Ham and giving them something to think about in the second half, more so than they did in the first. West Ham defence remaining pretty strong, though, as it stands. It's 56 minutes gone. It's West Ham.
Thank you very much, Molly. And in fact, I think we can announce that there has indeed been a goal at the London Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Molly was just cut off there a little short, but as soon as that happened, we've had an announcement that there has been a goal at the London Stadium for the away side. So Wolves have clawed it back to 2-1. Molly was mentioning that the away side was certainly getting a toe into the game, playing a little bit better and applying a bit of pressure to the home side's defence. But that is currently subject to a VAR review. But I think we can cross back over to Molly, catch up with her, who had a slight connection issue a couple of seconds ago, Molly, but I think you're back with us. What can you tell us about the goal?
Yeah, I think it just plays testament to how Wolves have been in this second half. They've managed to get forward on the counter-attack, and he's passed it across the box. He squared it across the box. Just looking at it now, he may be offside, and it is that man we spoke about before, Sarabia, who was there to tap it in for Wolves. It's what they needed to get themselves back into this second half. He does look like he might be offside, but VAR is still checking. We'll get back to you when we've got a result on that. But as it stands, it is West Ham 2, Wolves 1.
Thank you very much, Molly. So we'll keep you updated with the VAR review currently ongoing on that goal. Pablo Sarabia, who we mentioned earlier, we were talking about the fact that he is going to be a key player in the absence of Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto, of course, such an exciting young player. He's had rotten luck with his injuries over the last couple of years, and he's out again. But a very long VAR review currently ongoing, which we will update you on before too long. Just remind you of our late game in the Premier League at 5:30 in Nigerian time. It kicks off a little bit earlier that in the UK because of the time difference. It's Liverpool at home to Manchester United, and we have indeed had confirmation that the Wolves goal has been ruled out by VAR. A very long, lengthy VAR review has led to Pablo Sarabia's first of the afternoon unfortunately chalked off as far as Wolverhampton Wanderers are concerned. We're going to cross to our feature game now at the Emirates between Arsenal and Brighton, where there has been a triple substitution for the away side. Richard, Roberto De Zerbi ringing the changes.
Yeah, well, he's not afraid of making changes, Roberto De Zerbi. He's made 3 big ones here now, and she brought on Joe Pedro, who's been in really good form, scored the winner in midweek. Igor, the centre-half that they signed from Fiorentina for quite a bit of money, he's come on for James Milner, who's had a torrid time, and Bruno Notti has come on as well, then into midfield for Adam Lallana, also an experienced campaigner. They need to get back into this game. But interesting saying about Brighton, really, they've made the most substitutions and the most changes out of anybody in the league this season. This would be the 79th substitution in the games they played, and 70th change to their lineup. It's incredible. It's about 27 more than any other club. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know, but they're certainly going for it this afternoon now. In the last half an hour, they have to push if they want to get back into this game. But at the moment, though, it's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. Just to give you a half-time score update from Germany, it's Freiburg 0, Cologne 0. We're going to head back to have a chat with Molly Sumpter now in the London Stadium, because the Wolves players and managers seem to be hopping mad at their goal that was disallowed a few moments ago, Molly.
Yeah, I can see Gary O'Neill speaking with his technical team. He's really unhappy, and the Wolves players all protesting to the referee, Chris Kavanagh, as well. I'm not sure whether there's much substance to these complaints, though, really. It's quite a clear offside by Mateus Cunha for Wolves. His foot is quite clearly in front of the West Ham defender. Not sure about whether there should be complaints from the Wolves side, but as it stands, we've got
seem to have just lost connection with Molly Sumpter again, but she was just about to tell us that it is with 64 minutes played, West Ham 2, Wolves 0. We're going to head up to Scotland again and talk to Mark Thomas at the Scottish League Cup final. 20 minutes or so played now, Mark. Has there been a chance for either side so far?
Well, it's all been a bit cagey, to be honest. The only real fireworks we've had so far were in the stands just before the kickoff, to be honest, Alex. But it's been a bit scrappy. Butland has had to make a save from Milosevic. Very, very easy routine save. No power on the shot from just outside the box. Balogun, the Nigerian centre-back for Rangers, has made a couple of timely interceptions in the middle of the field. Rangers got most of the play. Aberdeen are kind of relying on counter-attack kind of football. They're finding it hard to get a hold of the ball. After 25 minutes here, Alex, it's still Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. So from West Glasgow to West London, now we'll go to Paul James, who is at the G-Tech Community Stadium. There's been another chance for the away side, Paul.
Yes, another couple of chances actually, Alex. a wonderful link up on the far side for Brentford with the cross coming in from Damsgaard. Johan Visser, who has been a pain for Aston Villa all afternoon with a flying header, and Emiliano Martinez getting across to make that save. And also Lewis Potter breaking into the penalty area, but he skewed his shot just wide as well. It's against the run of play. Villa have been dominating for most of the second half. 2 substitutions. Duran and Bailey are off. Duran and Bailey are on. Diaby and Cash are off. Still 1-0 here to Brentford.
Thank you very much, Paul. No score updates to bring you just yet in the Premier League, but an odds update from NairaBet in the game between Brentford and Aston Villa. It's currently 1-0 to Brentford, and they're 1.5 for that win. A draw is 3.6. A win for Villa would need to be a pretty swift turnaround, as they've played 67 minutes already and are a goal down, but NairaBet currently priced that up at 11.0. Arsenal against Brighton, it's currently 1-0 to the home side, and they are 1.15 for the victory, 7.0 for the draw, 34.0 for the away side Brighton, although odds have just been suspended in that one. And the game between West Ham and Wolves is currently 2-0 to the home side West Ham, and they are therefore only 1.04 for the win. For the home win, it's 19.0 for the draw, because Wolves would have to do pretty well to score 2 goals in the next 24 minutes, even though they have been a little bit better in the second half, and to get 3 goals or more to get an away win in that game. NairaBet currently priced that at 51.0. So just to remind you, all odds are from NairaBet and are, of course, all subject to change, although the odds in the Brentford-Aston Villa game have also been suspended just now in that one. So possibly an update to bring you. In fact, we are going to go to Brentford now and talk to Paul James, because Paul has news of a double substitution for the home side.
Yes, Thomas Franks ringing the changes here. He's taken off Mikel Damsgaard and the goalscorer Keane Lewis Potter. The Nigerian international Frank Onyeka and Neil Mope are the replacements as Brentford attempt to keep a hold of this 1-goal lead. 1-0 Brentford, 22 minutes to go.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's as we just start to edge towards the business end of our live games in the Premier League, it's impossible not to look forward to our feature game this evening that kicks off in an hour's time. That is, of course, Liverpool against Manchester United. Jurgen Klopp had a couple of fairly interesting things to say before the game, and I think we're going to hear from Jurgen Klopp now.
So I don't follow United closely enough to know exactly what's the problem there, but I saw that Erik ten Hag became manager of the month last month. I saw that they were the team in form result-wise in the last month. So how can it be all wrong? I just don't understand it. And yes, the 7-0, we knew that the day. It was a freak result that happens once in a life, pretty much, and then you have to in the next. And if it helps anybody, it's for the next game, it's a team who lost 7-0 and not a team who won 7-0. So that's another thing. But it's against the rival, the historical rival of Liverpool FC, and that at home at Anfield. And that itself must make it a special game. And that's what I want to see from us, a special game.
You are listening.
You are listening.
You are listening
to Football Live.
To Football Live.
to Football Live.
On Brila FM.
Get involved in NairaBet Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Liverpool take on Man United at Anfield, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 1,000 Naira. Whether you back Klopp's Reds or Ten Hag's Red Devils, you will be eligible for a free bet regardless who wins. All you need to do is log into www.nairabet.com, bet on Liverpool versus Man United. Receive your free bet to use on any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match markets or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18. Minimum odds of 1.50. Must be a real money bet. Cashed out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
There's a goal, there's a red card. Josh Bailey is screaming. It's a nightmare cause Chelsea are losing again. Chris Baldwin is happy. John Kane is off chatty. Happy Christmas to the listeners on Brilla FM.
Merry Christmas from everyone at Football Live.
Football Live is back on Brilla FM next Saturday from 10 to 4 in the afternoon. A huge match at Anfield as Liverpool take on Arsenal. Tottenham Hotspur are at home against the in-form Everton. And we will have a featured match in both Spain and Italy involving Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan. Join us next Saturday afternoon for festive football action right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brilla FM.
The goals, the team news, all the updates, all the key action, scores from around Europe's top leagues, exclusive interviews, breaking news.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brilla FM with Football Live.
We have an early Christmas cracker for you next Sunday afternoon. It's the Football Live Christmas special with myself, Barry Swain, and we'll have Chelsea in the thick of the action. They take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League at Molineux. We'll also have some SPFL action to get our teeth into, Motherwell against Rangers. And we go all festive. We're not going to be eating turkey, we're going to be going to Turkey. The Turkish Super League, Demirspor against Antalyaspor, and there will be 3 Nigerian players playing in the Azerbaijan League. Don't worry, we've got it all covered next Sunday afternoon and the Football Live Christmas special. Be sure to join me, Barry Swain, next Sunday from 1:30 in the afternoon.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Yes, hello there, welcome back. Still got a couple of Premier League games in full flow at the moment, and there's absolutely tons of updates to give you. I think the first port of call will probably be the G-Tech Community Stadium. We'll have an update from Paul James. Paul was shocked a few minutes ago that a red card was not awarded to Brentford. There has been one awarded. Now, Paul, what can you tell us?
Well, if there was any doubt before, there certainly isn't this time. Ben Mee went in for the 50-50 with the studs flying, and he clattered into the shin of Leon Bailey. It was an absolute savage challenge. The referee went over to look at the VAR clip and awarded the straight red card. Some controversy followed that when Neil Maupay was brought down in the penalty area. The VAR chose not to look at that. That was sort of a 50-50 as well. Brentford down to 10 men, but it's still they lead 1-0 with 17 minutes to go.
Thank you very much, Paul. And we're going to immediately head to Arsenal, where there's been plenty of action over the last few minutes as well. Richard Bond, what can you tell us?
Yeah, it's all happening here. This game's starting to liven up a bit now. First, we had Brighton trying to come back into the match, and they had a relatively good opportunity. Zinchenko lost the play to Groans from the home support, and Matoma picked the ball up. He's fed down on the left-hand side to Pascal Gross. His whipped-in ball then found Josh Hinchelwood at the back post. His header, though, couldn't quite get enough power on it. Went straight into the arms of Arsenal keeper Raya. But Arsenal then up the other end, and they've fashioned an opportunity themselves. Then Lewis Dunk at the heart of the action this afternoon. It was Kai Havertz who teed up Odegaard. He smashed the shot, and unfortunate for Dunk, he's gone down. Arsenal are claiming for a penalty, but I'm telling you not. For all men, they know that's not a penalty. Anyway, Dunk got himself back up. Corner came back in, and he's thrown his body back in the way again to deny Martinelli. What a performance from Duncan. He's keeping his side in the game here. We've still got 50 minutes to play. Plenty of action to go here. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. We'll be getting an update from Molly Sumter in the game between West Ham and Wolves before too long. In fact, I can confirm there's been a goal at the London Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, we're going to be getting an update from Molly before too long, because a couple of substitutions for either side have recently been made. But West Ham have found themselves another goal here. Wolverhampton Wanderers so close a few moments ago. They had a goal chalked off for offside. Pablo Sarabia had strayed into an offside position in the build-up to the goal. that was disallowed, and now Jared Bowen has added a third, as Molly earlier predicted he might do for his side. So we'll get an update from Molly in a few moments' time when we can, just to update you on the game in Serie A that we were keeping you abreast of a few moments ago. Udinese 2, Sassuolo 1 now. There's been a red card for Udinese, and Sassuolo have scored a penalty, and I can bring you news of another goal at the G-Tech Community Stadium for Aston Villa.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It is all going on in the Premier League at the moment. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1, courtesy of a goal from Alex Moreno. We'll be hearing from Molly Sumter, getting an update on a goal in the game between West Ham and Wolves in a few moments' time. In fact, we can go straight to you now, Molly. Molly, tell us about the third goal.
It was Thomas Souček who picked it up from Wolves when they were on the attack. It's another counter-attack from West Ham to produce a goal, and who else but Lucas Paquetá again to feed through to Jared Bowen, who's gone on a fantastic solo run and scored, and he's gone and taken it to the bottom. Over now, 75 minutes gone. It's West Ham 3, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. And we're going to go to the G-Tech Community Stadium and talk to Paul James. He's going to bring us news of that goal for Alex Moreno.
Yeah, with all the possession Villa have been having, it was coming eventually. Jacob Ramsey on the right-hand side swung the cross in. Alex Moreno was ghosting in behind the defence and completely wasn't picked up. And a thumping header past Mark Flecken makes it Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1. 12 minutes left in this one, Alex.
Thank you very much, Paul. There's plenty still happening at the Emirates. We're going to cross now to Richard Bond because Arsenal really should have put this game to bed by the sounds of things, Richard.
Yeah, if Arsenal don't win this game, I think it's going to be down to their poor finishing today. Although there's a really good save from visiting keeper Van Verbruggen, really a situ save from Martinelli once again. He's had a good chance. He's nice interplay with Odegaard. He smashed the shot and he's pulled off a really great stop, put with one hand, tipping the ball wide. But the better chance really was Kai Havertz just seconds ago. Martinelli again involved in the play, whipping the ball in from the left. Havertz 6 yards out, heads over the bar. That's a really good opportunity for Arsenal. 12 minutes to go though. It's still Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you indeed to all of us, our reporters this afternoon. It's been a pretty hectic second half here in the UK. Just to remind you of the scores in the Premier League. Our feature game between Arsenal and Brighton currently stands at just 1-0 to Arsenal. It's Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1. Brentford down to 10 men. West Ham are currently 3-0 up at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. In Serie A, Fiorentina are currently 1 goal up at home to Verona. In the Bundesliga, it's currently Freiburg 0, Cologne 0. In the Nigeria Premier League, it's Heartland 0, Aqua United 0, Lobby Stars 1, Doma United 0, Sunshine Stars 1, Gombe 0. So West Ham have just got a third goal. Their first 2 goals of the afternoon came courtesy of Mohamed Kudus, and we've got a little clip from Mohamed Kudus that he's been talking recently about West Ham's Europa League performances, or they're performing very well in the Premier League this afternoon as well, and how well he is settling in London. So let's hear what Mohamed Kudus had to say.
We knew they were coming strong, but we also were prepared. So the pressing from the game, from the start, the energy and everything was good. So good, we got some good goals in the early game. So yeah, we just focus on the next game. Still settling, but with the help of the team, the staff, everyone around, help both of us to settle quite well. So big ups to the whole team, yeah.
So that's Mohamed Kudus, their 2-goal hero this afternoon, as his West Ham side are currently 3 goals up at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. He was speaking there after the West Ham's midweek victory in the Europa League, 2-0 at home to Freiburg, in which he also scored the opening goal in that game. Magnificent young African player with a magnificent future ahead of him. He'll be hoping to follow in the footsteps of Victor Osimhen, who was named CAF Men's Player of the Year 2024 earlier this week, on the same date that Asisat Oshoala was named the Women's CAF Player of the Year. Let's hear what Victor Osimhen had to say in his acceptance speech.
Good evening, everyone. This means so much to me because of where I'm coming from and the things I've been through to arrive to where I am today. I think I'm really proud of myself, how far I've come, and the people that have really inspired me on this journey. My family, my friends, and my fans, the ones that have been there for me through the hard time. To be standing here as the 2023 Player of the Year, it's a huge one for me. I can't lie, it's a big milestone for me, because this award is one of the most prestigious trophies in world football, and I'm happy to have won it.
Victor Osimhen there, talking about his how a proud moment for him winning the CAF Player of the Year 2024 in the men's category. It certainly seemed to do the trick last night as he opened the scoring for his Napoli side as they ran out 2-1 winners over Cagliari. Which now sees them, after a pretty poor start to the season, they're still in 4th, Napoli, although they are 11 points off first place Inter. We're going to go back to the Premier League action, though, and I think we're firstly going to let's cross to Paul James in Brentford. There's been a substitution for the away side.
Yes, Villa have taken off Pau Torres and brought on Nicola Zaniolo in an attempt to create more opportunities here. Villa have had much of the possession for the second half, but they haven't really created too much despite that possession. So it's Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1. There's 7 minutes left here, Alex.
Thank you very much, Paul. And we're going to go straight to Molly Sumpter at West Ham, because you've got some news of a couple of changes for us there, Molly.
Yeah, Nelson Semedo has made way for Thomas Doyle for Wolves, and Gary O'Neill has also taken off Mario Lemina, who's been replaced by Matt Doherty. I think it's just game management from Wolves at the moment, trying to keep the scoreline respectable for them. But as it stands, we've got about 10 minutes of normal time remaining. It's West Ham 3, Wolves 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. And we're going to hop straight to North London now, because Richard Bond has news of a couple of substitutions and a massive opportunity for one of the teams. Richard, what can you tell us?
Massive opportunity for Brighton. Don't forget, they always score 32 games in a row in the league. But at the moment, not so much. But it's Pascal Gross who's had the opportunity. João Pedro feeding a lovely ball through to Cairo Matoma down the left-hand side. He's beaten Ben White. He's squared the ball across the middle of the box. Pascal Gross has got his foot right behind it, and it's just gone wide, slightly of the post. Massive opportunity for Brighton. In the meantime, ex-gunner Danny Welbeck has come on for Adingra, really just to get into attack. Remember, he scored 16 goals his time here at Arsenal. That'd be an interesting story. And Trossard and Nteke has come on for Arsenal for Jesus and Martinelli, as Arsenal maybe look for that second goal to put it to bed. But they've got to be careful of these Brighton counters. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, 84 minutes on the clock.
Thank you, Richard. And we've got news of another goal at the G-Tech Community Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, the 10 men of Brentford beginning to tell, seemingly, because Aston Villa have taken the lead. They were a goal down just a few moments ago, but Ben Mee was shown a red card, and they've rallied since. And Ollie Watkins has made it 2-1 to Aston Villa in Brentford. We're going to pass over to Paul James now, who's going to tell us all about it. Paul.
Well, it came from a corner down the left-hand side. The corner was swung in. It was a beautiful back heel flick by Ezri Konsa that took the ball to the back post, where Ollie Watkins with the header put Villa into a 2-1 lead, and then all of a sudden a brawl broke out inside the goal. And well, the referee is still sorting it out now, as a matter of fact. But it's Villa that take the lead with 4 minutes to go now. It's Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2.
Thank you very much, Paul. And we're going to go to Richard Bond, who's got more news from the Emirates. Chance for the home side this time, Richard.
Yeah, lovely play in the midfield now. It was Odegaard and feeding through Declan Rice. Broke from deep. Nice little play, 1-2 in the midfield there. It came out to the left-hand side where it found the substitute Leonardo Trossard. He's played the ball back across to Rice, feeding the ball back inside, and his shot is just gone slightly wide that right-hand post. But Bruggen was beaten, I think, on that one. But, you know, it's getting closer to getting another goal in this game. But which way will it go? We've got 5 minutes left here. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0.
Which way indeed? We're going to pass straight up to Mark Thomas, who's up in Scotland for us, watching Rangers against Aberdeen. Mark, you've got news of a couple of yellow cards.
Yes, it all got a little bit testy here. Shinnie has been very lucky not to get a yellow card. He's had a couple of deliberate fouls, which for some reason the referee has decided to overlook and to keep the game free-flowing. But we did have an off-the-ball incident. Lundstrom and Scala have both been booked, one for each team. A couple of seconds ago, McCloskey did a very good cross from the right-hand side, and the Nigerian, Leon Balogun, came in with a header which went just wide. 46 minutes gone. We've got another 3 minutes of extra time at the end of the first half. It's still Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm pleased to be able to announce for our listeners there's been another goal at the Emirates Stadium.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It looks like Arsenal have finally made their dominance count and have finally put the game to bed. There's only a couple of minutes of their fixture against Brighton left, and they are now 2 goals to the good. We'll cross over to Richard Bond and get an update on that before too long. But before we do that, we're going to go to Luke Charlton, who is waiting very patiently for us over in Holland, and he has got the team news in the game in Amsterdam between Ajax and PEC Zwolle.
Yes, good afternoon, Alex, and good afternoon to all the Football Live listeners. Yes, you join me today at the Johan Cruyff Arena for the game between Ajax and PEC Zwolle. There's only been a couple of changes for both sides. One change for Ajax being Borna Sosa has come in for Christian Glinsen in defence, and for the away team today, PEC Zwolle, it is Zico Burmista has come in midfield for Ryan Thomas. So one alteration for both sides, and I'm hoping for an exciting game here as we've just kicked off, and we'll be looking for plenty of goals. A stat for you here is that Ajax in their last 6 league games have produced three or more total goals in their matches, and for Zwolle they've had the same statistic in their last 4. So there should be plenty of action and plenty of goals in the match today, and I'm sure you'll be coming to me with lots of updates throughout the match. So as we've just kicked off in now, it's 1 minute gone, and it's Ajax 0, PEC Zwolle 0.
Thank you very much, Luke. We are going to get an update about that second goal for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium now from Richard Bond. What can you tell us?
Game, set, match to Arsenal, and it's Arsenal 2, Brighton 0, and it's Kai Havertz with a goal, and it was really good play from Odegaard on his 26th birthday today. Now the captain found really good form in midfield, finding substitute and Tekia, who burst free on that left-hand side, which been causing the Brighton a bit of problems this afternoon. He makes no mistake in slipping through Kai Havertz between the defenders. He's through on goal, and he just slots it neatly into the bottom left-hand corner. It's just deserves for Arsenal. Brighton were pushing to try and get some of this, but they haven't been good enough today. Arsenal 2, Brighton 0, and we're just starting to come into stoppage time.
Good news for Arsenal fans that the much maligned at times Kai Havertz seems to be bang in form at the moment, and he's notched a second for Arsenal at home to Brighton and seemingly has put the game to bed. Just to update you about the game in Italy that we're bringing you score updates from. It's currently Udinese 2, Sassuolo 2 now. a second penalty for Sassuolo. Before we go up to Scotland, we're going to get a quick personnel update from the London Stadium from Molly Sumpter. Molly, a couple of substitutions.
Yeah, there's been a couple of changes for West Ham here. Mohamed Kudus, who got 2 of the goals today, has come off for Danny Ings, and Mbama is on for Lucas Paquetá, who also got a couple of assists today. There is a Wolves player down. Vladimir Kufal for West Ham went in with quite a rash challenge, has been shown a yellow card, but it's John Richner Bellegarde for Wolves who's gone down, has been down for a little while now. There's the medics are on the pitch. We'll see how he is, but it doesn't look too bad, but you never know. He stayed down. It's 88 minutes on the clock here. West Ham 3, Wolves 0.
Lovely stuff, Molly. Thank you very much. 10 minutes of half time they are now into at the GTEC Community Stadium. 6 minutes of injury time announced at the Emirates. That just about gives us time to nip back up to beyond the border, back up to Scotland, and get an update from Mark Thomas, because it's now half time of the Scottish League Cup final. Mark, what's the first half look like?
Well, it's been pretty much Rangers on the front foot. Aberdeen have been finding it difficult to get a hold of the ball. And, they've been relying on some quick counter-attack forays. Not brought much out of the goalkeeper, Jack Butland. They did have that one very soft shot earlier on. Just before the end of the half here, we had a great header from McCausland. He's looked very dangerous. He's coming in from the right-hand side from the full-back position, and he's getting some wonderful positions on that back post. A great cross from Barisic. His header just went a couple of yards wide, but they look promising when they're going down the right-hand side. McCausland is causing havoc, as is Tavernier, of course. Cantwell much in control in the midfield along there with Lundstrom. Right now, all the good stuff is coming from Rangers, but it is 0-0 at halftime.
Thank you very much indeed, Mark. There's 7 minutes of injury time. They are now playing at the London Stadium between West Ham United and Wolves, where Kehrer has just, the German fullback, has just come on for Kufal. There's been a yellow card for Neil Mope in the game between Brentford and Arsenal. Dying embers of that there. He certainly doesn't want to get another yellow card, because his team would be down to 9 men. If that were the case, they've already had Ben Mee sent off and have shipped 2 goals in fairly quick succession here after taking the lead. So a disappointing afternoon for Thomas Frank's men. Of course, the absence of Brian Mbemo being particularly keenly felt after his ankle injury needed an operation in mid-week. We will be handing back to Nigeria in a few minutes' time, but to bring you news of a red card for Cologne in their game against Freiburg. The score is still 0-0. Just before I think we hand over, though, we should probably get an update from Richard Bond at the Emirates Stadium. It's currently Arsenal 2, Brighton 0, Richard, and Arsenal have eventually made their dominance pay.
Yeah, finally they did. After having so many chances this afternoon, it's been incredible, really, that they weren't ahead before. It's 25 shots to 5, really. Brighton had a little bit in the second half. Possession-wise, they haven't really dominated that much, but it's just in that final third. They've had the edge this afternoon. They could have gone 3-0 up a minute ago. Substitute Emile Smith-Rowe, he got played through by Trossard, a fellow substitute as well, and Van Bruggen, who's had a really good game in the Brighton goal today. Very busy, made another top save, really, just to keep the scoreline down on Brighton, who just haven't been good enough this afternoon. But just coming to the last minute of stoppage time here, it's Arsenal 2, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. There are still some odds available on NairaBet in the game between Brentford and Aston Villa. It's 2-1 to Aston Villa at the moment, and Brentford are 101.0 for the win. Big odds there if they can turn that around in the dying embers of the game. 11.0 is the draw, and 1.07 for an away win, which Aston Villa seem to have sewn in the bag, given that they are both a man and a goal to the good. But it's the time now is 4:55, which means it's time to hand back to Nigeria and FJ. This is Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guildford.
Yes, welcome back to Football Live here on Brilla FM. All of our Premier League fixtures from earlier in the afternoon, our early kickoffs have ended now, and I will go and I think we're going to go to Richard Bond first of all to discuss Arsenal against Brighton at the Emirates Stadium. Richard, Arsenal just about sort of did, is it fair to say they just about did enough in the end?
They were dominant, though, Alex. They did do enough in the end, and they were clinical at the right moments in the end. But there was a lot of chances they had today. But anyhow, it's all finished here at the Emirates. Arsenal 2, Brighton 0. Arsenal kept up their unbeaten home record to return to top of the Premier League table for at least a couple of hours, as second-half goals from Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz proved to be the difference in sealing a convincing victory over an out-of-sorts Brighton, you could say. Arsenal were totally dominant throughout and were rarely threatened by the Seagulls, perhaps suffering a hangover from Thursday night's Europa League 1-0 win over Marseille, which might have taken a little bit out of them. So it's just really rarely threatened to get into the game. It could have been done by half-time with Jesus and Martinelli missing glorious chances, but led by Captain Fantastic Martin Odegaard pulling the strings on his 26th birthday, the Gunners would return to winning ways after last weekend's mini blip against Aston Villa. Brighton will have better days, but not good enough today, and will look to pick themselves up against Crystal Palace on Thursday night. Whilst for Arsenal, it's a small matter of a top-of-the-table clash with Liverpool at Anfield here. Next Saturday on Football Live, I believe. I can't wait, can you? It finished here, though. Arsenal 2, Brighton 0.
Thank you very much for all your hard work this afternoon, Richard. I know the North London traffic can be terrible, so we'll let you go now. Try and escape from Finsbury Park as quick as you can. Excellent work this afternoon by Richard. Arsenal rounding off a pretty dominant display this afternoon and eventually rounding off 2-0 winners thanks to goals from Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. We're actually going to go to Anfield finally and get an update from Jack Hesson, who is abreast of this one at Anfield, this big clash, this big rivalry, one of the longest standing rivalries in English football. Liverpool against Manchester United. Liverpool in good form, particularly in the league at the moment, although the Europa League loss they suffered in midweek was very much with a changed side, very much a second 11. Manchester United this season has been tumultuous to say the least. Jack Hesson, what can you tell us about the lineups this afternoon?
Yeah, it's a big one at Anfield. Good afternoon to you. And for Manchester United, it's a return to the scene of the crime. We all remember the scoreline the last time these two faced. Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. A result Ten Hag could put firmly behind him with a win at Anfield, but it will not be easy. Liverpool make one change from last weekend's win over Crystal Palace. Konate replacing Quinash. The full lineup for Liverpool: Alisson starts and goals, a back line of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Kostas Tsimikas. A midfield three of Szoboszlai, Wataru Endo and Ryan Gravenberch, and the attacking front three, the dangerous attacking front three of Luis Diaz on the left, Mohamed Salah on the right, Darwin Nunez leads the line. As for Manchester United, of course, crashed out of Europe in the midweek with a 1-0 defeat to Bayern Munich, finishing bottom of the Champions League group. And then that had followed a 3-0 defeat at home to Bournemouth just before that. They sit 8th in the table and they make no changes from that 3-0 defeat to Bournemouth. The full lineup for them: Andrew Onana starts and goals, a backline of Luke Shaw, Johnny Evans, Rafael Varane and Diego Dalot, a midfield three of Sofyan Amrabat, Scott McTominay and Kobe Manu, an attacking front three, Alejandro Garnacho on the left, Anthony on the right, Rasmus Højlund leads the line. It's a bumper crowd of 57,000 at Anfield, with the long-awaited opening of the Anfield Road stand extension. Under Ten Hag, Manchester United have won just 1 point from their 11 Premier League away games against sides in the top 9. Liverpool are unbeaten in the last 19 Premier League home games. It will be a difficult test, but you can never write Manchester United off, and it should be a good game.
Thank you very much indeed, Jack. We're going to have a quick chat with Billy Andrews, who is in Leverkusen for us this evening for this clash between Bayer Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt. Billy, just a few minutes to kick off now. What can you tell us about the team news?
Yeah, well, Bayer Leverkusen looking to go 7 points clear of Bayern Munich before their game against Stuttgart later this evening. And Xabi Alonso makes just the one change to the side that started last weekend's 1-1 draw with VfB Stuttgart. Jonas Hoffmann in to replace the injured Amin Adli, which means the hosts begin again with Florian Wirtz and Jonas Hoffmann in that number 10 dual role. Meanwhile, Eintracht Frankfurt are forced into one change to the team that battered Bayern 5-1 last weekend. Niels Nkunku comes into the side to replace Omar Marmoush, who's missing through suspension. That means it's a start up front for the Nigerian Victor Boniface, 4 Rookie of the Month and a Player of the Month award for him. And fellow Nigerian Nathan Teller fit for the bench again. But it is the same starting 11 for Bayer Leverkusen that started the 10 games in the last 15 for them. Kick off in just about 3 minutes away. It's going to be a good one.
Thank you very much, Billy. Bayer Leverkusen looking to set down a marker and move 7 points clear of Bayern Munich in second place before Bayern Munich play fourth place Stuttgart a little bit later on. We are going to go up to Scotland and have a chat with Mark Thomas, because Mark is watching the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen. In fact, we're not going to do that because we're going to announce a goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
That's right, there's been a goal in Amsterdam, and Ajax are a goal to the good. They started the season terribly. One of their games, you'll remember back in September, I think it was at home to Feyenoord, was called off because of fan unrest, and the remainder of the game was played behind closed doors. But they seem to be onto a good thing here, and their form has been turned around in recent weeks, and Luke Charlton is going to fill us in on their goal, which has seen them go a goal to the good. Luke, what can you tell us?
Well, it was a very, very long VAR intervention, but the goal was finally awarded. Brian Robbie will be very happy with that, I can tell you. It's been an excellent team move from Ajax. Many passes, intricate play, passing forward into the forward line, and the ball finally ricochets over to Robbie. He takes the shot first time past Jasper Schindler in the Pek Zwolle goal, and it was a very, very tight, as I say. Initially given as offside, and it seemed rightly so, but then after a lengthy VAR review of a couple minutes, it was finally awarded, and Ajax had taken the lead. And they've been dominating the game, it has to be said. They've had over 70% of possession, but Pek Zwolle have played well, and on the counter-attack they've taken some good chances, but it's finally Ajax that have broken the deadlock here, and I think they're going to push on and be looking for a second with this close to half-time to really wrap up the match as best they can with only the first half played. But as it stands now, it's Ajax 1, Pek Zwolle 0 with 43 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Luke. We just got the lineups a few moments ago, the team news rather, for Bayer Leverkusen and Frankfurt. I can tell you that the other game in the Bundesliga this afternoon between Freiburg and Cologne has finished 2-0 to Freiburg, who of course went down to West Ham in midweek by that same scoreline. We can now go to Mark Thomas, finally. Sorry, Mark, my mistake.
That's okay.
We are finally going to get an update from you in this Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen. What can you tell us?
Well, Alex, it's Rangers that have got most of the appetite for this game going forward in the second half. They've had a couple of good chances. The Nigerian Dessers, he cut into the box only to be denied by a defender. And just a few seconds ago, we had a free kick just outside the box. Tavernier stepped up, put it around the wall. A wonderful save down at the left-hand post from Roos to foil Rangers from going 1-0 up. It's one-way traffic, all Rangers all the time. Chances are coming thick and fast, but they're just not able to capitalize on all their good play yet. 68 minutes gone. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. No change on the scoreline in the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Aberdeen. Just to remind you, our feature game this evening is the big one in the Premier League between Liverpool and Manchester United at Anfield. So just to remind you what the odds, according to NairaBet, currently look like for that game. If you fancy Liverpool, it's just 1.33 for a home win, possibly quite telling of the state of play at the moment between these two clubs, that Liverpool are just 1.33 as it currently stands for a win against Manchester United. It's 6.0 for the draw and 7.5 for a Manchester United win, an away win for Manchester United. Certainly looking like a good value bet on the face of it, but given the poor run of form that that Manchester United are currently in, although they have been able to turn it on against some of the bigger sides recently, that they've played really well against Everton when they won away, and obviously beat Chelsea 2-1 at Old Trafford after a pretty dominant performance against Mauricio Pochettino's side, but 7.5 to beat Liverpool away from home this evening possibly says a lot about the amount of faith currently in Ten Hag's side, particularly amongst Manchester United fans. So just to remind you one more time, that Liverpool are 1.33 on NairaBet for the victory, 6.0 is the draw, and Manchester United are 7.5 to beat Liverpool at Anfield. All bets are, of course, all odds are subject to change. Of course, please do bear that in mind. But you can go to nairabet.com for all the latest odds, not just in the Premier League, but in across European football and indeed the wider world of sport as well. We've just had kickoff in the game between Liverpool and Manchester United, so we'll go back to Jack Hesson before too long. But before we do that, I think we're going to get the full-time reports that have been sent to us from Molly Sumter and Paul James. They were abreast of West Ham and Wolves and Brentford and Aston Villa respectively. I think first of all we're going to hear from Paul James with his summary of Brentford's home loss to Aston Villa.
Full time at the G-Tech Community Stadium, and it is Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2. Goal by Keane Lewis Potter on the 44th minute gave Brentford the lead. 2 goals in the second half, one by Alex Moreno, one for Ollie Watkins by Villa, gives them the 2-1 victory, but that is really only part of the story. A red card for Ben Mee on the 70th minute, and the brawls broke out. One when Emilio Martinez grabbed a hold of Neil Maupay's shirt to drag him on his feet, caused a massive brawl towards the end of the game, and yellow cards were issued. A red card was given to Boubacar Kamara for grabbing the throat of Yarmoliuk, and in the end it was 7 yellow cards and 1 red card for Brentford, and 3 yellow cards and 1 red for Aston Villa. Both Thomas Frank and Unai Emery also picked up yellow cards in a very ill-tempered affair. But it finishes here, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2, and Villa move into second place.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet, of course, they are subject to change. Liverpool, Manchester United kicked off in the 3rd minute. Liverpool is still 0-0 there. Liverpool are 1.36 for the win. It's just gone down for the draw to 5.50, and it's 7.50 for Manchester United win. Aberdeen Rangers, they're playing the 73rd minute, still 0-0 there in the Scottish League Cup final. Rangers are 2.38 for the win. The draw is 1.85. Aberdeen just gone down to 10.0. The German Bundesliga, still 0-0 between Bayer Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt after 4 minutes. Bayer Leverkusen are 1.29 for the win. The draw has just gone down to 6.0, and it's gone down as well for Eintracht for 9.50. Marseille in Ligue 1 are leading Clermont by 1-0. Marseille are 1.14 for the win. The draw is 8.50, and Claremont to win are 21.0. Finally, the Spanish La Liga, still 0-0 between Real Sociedad and Real Betis. Sociedad are 2.30 for the win. It's just gone down for the draw to 2.10. And finally, Real Betis has just gone up to 7.50. All these prices are from NairaBet, and they're all subject to change. Alex.
Thank you very much, John. I was just experiencing a small technical difficulty there a few moments ago. Thank you very much for the update on the odds. I was just complimenting Paul James on his superb dispatch from the GTEC Community Stadium, where Brentford ended up going down 2-1 to Aston Villa, despite taking the lead on the stroke of half-time thanks to a goal from Lewis Potter. Ben Mee was sent off on 71 minutes, and then the goals from Alex Moreno and Ollie Watkins puts the away side 2-1 up, and then Kamara was sent off in injury time as well. We're going to go and have a quick chat with Jack Hesson, who's at Anfield for us, because perhaps unsurprisingly, Jack, there's been a chance for the home side.
Yeah, 6 minutes in, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0, but it is all Liverpool at the moment. 78% of the ball so far. 3 corner kicks, a dangerous free kick whipped into the box a couple of minutes earlier, and the best chance of the game so far. Corner whipped in to the back post. Mohamed Salah there in all the space in the world. Takes it, chests it down, tries and hits it in the volley. It's looping towards the back post, and Darwin Nunez just gets a foot onto it, but he can't make a great connection onto it, and it goes out for a goal kick. So Liverpool certainly knocking at the door at the moment, and it's looking like one-way traffic. 6 minutes in, Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. I'm pleased to say that there has been a goal in the Scottish League Cup final.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, Rangers find themselves a goal to the good against Aberdeen at Hampden Park in the Scottish League Cup final. We'll be cutting over to Mark Thomas before too long. In fact, I think we can head over to Mark now because Rangers find themselves a goal to the good here, Mark.
Finally, it's been coming for a long time, Alex, to be honest with you. We got a cross into the box. It bobbled around a little bit. It came out to the right-hand side, midway into the penalty area, and James Tavernier, one of their leading scorers this season, rocketed it right up into the roof of the goal. 1-0 Rangers. It's been very, very well deserved. They've done most of the attacking play. Aberdeen have been sitting back a little bit deeper more and more as every minute has gone by. So far, very well-deserved goal from Tavernier. Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Mark. James Tavernier with his, I think it's his 14th goal of the season. Magnificent goal-scoring record he's got. The brother of Marcus Tavernier, of course, who plays on the wing for Bournemouth, a talented footballing family. The Taverniers. So just before we head back to Anfield, we're going to have a listen to Molly Sumpter's full-time report from West Ham against Wolves, which resulted in a pretty convincing and pretty affirmative display and a great result for West Ham.
It's full time here at the London Stadium. It was the performance West Ham fans would have wanted after last week's 5-0 bashing from Fulham. It's 3 massively important points for the Hammers, bringing them up to 7th in the Premier League and just 2 points behind Newcastle. 2 goals for that stunner signing, Mohamed Kudus, in what was really a comfortable win for the Hammers at the London Stadium. Lucas Paquetá providing for those 2 goals, and a goal for Jarrod Bowen, who just cannot stop scoring at the moment. A fantastic game to watch here in East London. It's ended West Ham 3, Wolves 0.
A hat-trick of assists for Lucas Paquetá at the London Stadium this afternoon. Mohamed Kudus with 2 first-half goals, sealing his what has been a superb week for him and his fine form in recent weeks. We heard him saying earlier how he was still settling into life in London, but he's certainly making light work of it on the pitch. I think we'll head to Germany now and have a quick chat with Billy Andrews, who's watching Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt for us. Billy, 10 minutes in or so now. How are the two sides shaping up?
Pretty evenly, I must say, Alex. There was just a slight injury concern for the Nigerian striker, Victor Boniface. He jumped up to contest a ball forward and just jerked his left knee, but he seems okay now. He is carrying on. Patrick Schick is back from injury and back on the bench, as is fellow Nigerian Nathan Teller. And the news this week that Donny van der Beek will be joining Eintracht Frankfurt when the January transfer window opens on loan, with an option to buy, not an obligation. But if he is to get minutes for Frankfurt, he will have to break up the partnership between Mario Götze and Hugo Larsson. Hugo Larsson, 19, and Mario Götze coming towards the end of his career, so he's going to have to break up that partnership, but no clear-cut chances yet for either side. Still 0-0 at Leverkusen.
Thank you very much, Billy. I think when I talk to Jack Hessen in a few minutes' time, I might just pick his brains about that Donny van der Beek transfer, because there's few players that you think really epitomise the slightly confused transfer strategy of Manchester United in recent times, more than Donny van der Beek. But before we do that, we're going to go to Luke Charlton, who is in Amsterdam for us. And you've got a halftime report for us, I believe, Luke, on the game between Ajax and PEC Zwolle.
Yes, it's halftime here at the Johan Cruyff Arena. It's 1-0 to Ajax at halftime, and it could have certainly been more. There was a couple of opportunities for a second goal for Ajax in particular. The play initially was very much dominated by Ajax in the half, and they've had most of the possession. They've had lots of opportunities and really made a hard day at the office for Jasper Schindler in the PEC Zwolle goal. And Chuba Akpom has had multiple opportunities. Brian Burberry has had multiple opportunities. Stevan Berghuis has been really instrumental on the right hand side for Ajax, and it eventually showed for the home side, and they took the lead in the 37th minute through Brian Broby. It was an excellent team move, played in Davin Wrench on the right hand side, who laid it off for Brian Broby to hammer home with his left foot into the bottom corner to give Ajax a 1-0 lead in the 37th minute. And it could have been more, as I say. They could have had a second. There was another incident where it was an opportunity for Ajax, a cross played in by Borna Sosa. It was recycled, the ball back in by Kenneth Taylor, who found Chuba Akpom standing just by the edge of the goal line, who headed it in, but was rightly ruled offside for the second time in the match. But this time VAR did not intervene and give the goal, and Ajax only remained 1-0 ahead. But as it stands, I think in the second half, it's really going to be all Ajax is to play for, and I think they're going to be pushing for a second. But PEC Zwolle have had some good chances themselves, particularly through Ferdy Droyf, who has had multiple opportunities in and around the penalty area and has blazed high and wide at different points, and will hopefully try and be more clinical in the second half. And he's actually contributed to 3 of the last 4 goals in the Eredivisie for PEC Zwolle, so he'll be someone to keep an eye on in the second half for sure. But at halftime now, it is Ajax 1, PEC Zwolle 0.
Thank you very much, Luke. We are going to go and talk to Jack Hessen, who is at Anfield. Jack, the early exchanges were dominated by Liverpool. Is that still the case?
Yes, well, the last time he came to me, as I mentioned, it was looking like it was going one-way traffic. Liverpool came right flying out the traps in the start of this game, but Manchester United have been able to weather that really early storm from Liverpool, and they've got to grips with the game a little bit more, but obviously they have to be wary of that attacking threat Liverpool have. They can't, they're struggling to make chances going forward. A half chance there for Garnacho on the edge of the area. It looked really inviting, and he skied it over the bar. Apart from that, nothing really going for them at the moment. 13 minutes played, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. I'm pleased to say there's been a goal in Germany in the Bayer Leverkusen game.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it has gone the way of Xabi Alonso's high-flying Bayer Leverkusen. They're at home to Frankfurt, and Billy Andrews is there for us. Billy, what can you tell us?
Well, it's that man yet again. It's the Nigerian Victor Boniface that's put Xabi Alonso's side 1-0 up at home to Eintracht Frankfurt. He received the ball from Ezekiel Palacios, a few cheeky stepovers, and they backed off, and he bent it. It looked a comfortable one for the goalkeeper, but it bobbled and went underneath. And that's been Boniface's 9th goal of the season, taking him joint 4th with Jonas Wind. It's only taken us 15 minutes, but it's 1-0 to the home side.
Thank you very much indeed, Billy. It's great to have those updates from you from Germany. Bayer Leverkusen looking to go 7 points clear, at the top of the Bundesliga before Bayern Munich have an opportunity to close the gap a little bit later on. This is Football Live.
You are listening.
You are listening.
You are listening
to Football Live.
To Football Live.
To Football Live.
On Brila FM.
Football Live is back on Brila FM next Saturday from 10 to 4 in the afternoon. A huge match at Anfield as Liverpool take on Arsenal. Tottenham Hotspur are at home against the in-form Everton. And we will have a featured match in both Spain and Italy involving Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan. Join us next Saturday afternoon for festive football action right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Introducing NairaBet's new feature, ShareBet. Celebrate victories, showcase your skills, and join the NairaBet community today. Ever wished you could share the excitement of your bets with friends and fellow enthusiasts effortlessly? Well, now your betting experience can be shared with just a click, making every moment unforgettable. How to share your bet. Step 1, place your bets at nairabet.com. Step 2, go to the My Bet section. Step 3, select the drop-down on your bet slip. Step 4, select ShareBet to copy your bet. Your bet is now ready to be shared with the world. Must be 18 plus to place a bet. General terms and conditions apply.
The goals, the team news, all the updates, all the key action, scores from around Europe's top leagues, exclusive interviews, breaking news.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
We have an early Christmas cracker for you next Sunday afternoon. It's the Football Live Christmas special with myself, Barry Swain, and we'll have Chelsea in the thick of the action. They take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League at Molineux. We'll also have some SPFL action to get our teeth into, Motherwell against Rangers. And we go all festive. We're not going to be eating turkey, we're going to be going to Turkey. The Turkish Super League, Demirspor against Antalyaspor, and there will be 3 Nigerian players playing in the Azerbaijan League. Don't worry, we've got it all covered next Sunday afternoon and the Football Live Christmas special. Be sure to join me, Barry Swain, next Sunday from 1:30 in the afternoon.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Welcome back to Football Live. Alex Guildford here, filling in for Josh Bailey this afternoon. Our feature game is in the Premier League, of course, between Liverpool and Manchester United, and we are going to head to Anfield to once again have a quick word with Jack Hesson, because there's been another decent chance for Liverpool, Jack.
Yeah, very good chance again, and it was Darwin Nunez once again, ball whipped in. Manchester United caught napping at the back. Trent Alexander-Arnold had the ball on the edge of the area, played a great floated cross in towards Darwin Nunez at the back post. He had the space to try and go for the shot, but instead opts to try and head it across the face of goal, where Diaz and Gravenberch were. They both go for the same ball, collide into each other. The loose ball falls to Salah, and his shot just goes wide. So Liverpool knocking at the door. 18 minutes played. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you, Jack. We'll just stick with you for now if we can. I just wanted to, we briefly mentioned it earlier, the fact that Donny van der Beek is widely expected to join Eintracht Frankfurt in the January transfer window for something like a €15 million fee, or with an optional fee, sorry. He's going to join on loan initially. Just wondered what your thoughts were, perhaps on Van der Beek, but also on Manchester United more generally. Van der Beek himself, I think it's fair to say, has been a bit of a disappointment since the point of Trafford. There seems to be a bit of a disjointed transfer strategy more generally at the club, and he perhaps epitomises that more than anyone else. They've got lots of promising, young, exciting players, but no one who really seems to be able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. What do you make of their current predicament, which is obviously well documented, but also what do you make of the players out there on the pitch this afternoon?
Yeah, I think it is a symptom of everything that's really went wrong with regards to the signing policy, because it's another player that on paper I think should have been a much brighter talent for Manchester United. He was really well regarded at Ajax, a great player, over there. And then he started, he had 19 or so games in that opening season, and then just never kicked on from there. 23 years old, he's now 26. Yeah, I think it just sums up really the problems that they have. They struggle to develop players. They struggle to. They bring in highly rated talents, and they never seem to reach their potential. I think they're starting to see that, as you mentioned, players currently in the squad. One in particular, Rasmus Højlund, £72 million they spent for him, a young talent from Atalanta. He started 9 of 12 games, he's not had any goals or any assists, and he's cost £72 million, and it's looking like quite similar to Van de Beek. The only difference with Van de Beek, of course, was that he really hasn't played many games since that opening season. He's not had a fair crack of the whip, but when he has played, he's not really showed much either. He got a loan chance to go to Everton. He didn't really show much in the 7 games that he played there. And I think this move for him in particular is a big move. I think he can kick on in the Bundesliga, and he just probably needs a bit of confidence to push forward.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. It's interesting, isn't it, as well? Erik ten Hag seems to have been struggling a little bit in terms of the personnel he's recruited himself. Along similar lines, he's obviously brought in the likes of Antony, and I know Lisandro Martinez is very highly rated by most Manchester United fans, but he just doesn't quite seem to be able to pick the right personnel that he wants to bring in himself. You think that someone like Antony, £90 million or something he cost. It's somewhere in that sort of region, and he looks really brilliant in Holland, but he hasn't seemed to be able to make that step up, if you like, in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of players that are kind of showing that in the same way. And for Ten Hag, recruitment hasn't been great for him, but he has had the opportunity to get his own players in, like Lisandro Martinez, who I think has had a relatively decent start to his Manchester United career. Anthony has had an underwhelming start, and Onana, well, I think it depends who you ask with how good he's been, but he's made some big mistakes this season, of course. Yes, it's hard to say if he's had the excuse to he's not had the same excuses because he's able to get in his own players, but really, what is it that they need to do, Manchester United? Because they're spending an awful lot of money, but they just can't seem to spend it in the right areas.
Yeah, are you confident that a change of ownership, or certainly a change of the ownership structure, can improve things for them?
Yeah, I think it is structural problems for them. They're not looking like a cohesive football club from the state, from the condition of the football stadium to the training facilities to the team that's on the park. There's clearly something that's rotten in the football club itself, and it's not going to be sorted by one manager. It's going to have to be a concerted effort across every single department in the football club to try and get Man United back to where they believe they belong.
Thank you very much indeed, Jack Hesson. We'll be getting a couple more updates from you throughout the rest of the afternoon. I am absolutely certain of that. Interesting that Jack mentions structural issues at Manchester United, quite contrasting to Manchester City and the clubs like them and the other clubs within the City Football Group umbrella kind of organization, if you like. They invested recently in Girona in Catalonia, and of course they're flying high in La Liga at the moment, and lots of their success has been put down to the sort of structural what's the word I'm looking for here? The structure of the football club itself that Manchester City's wider owners, have put in place. We'll pick that back up in a second, that thought, because I'm pleased to say there's been another goal in Amsterdam.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it is 2-0 now to Ajax. The early season strugglers are back on form under new manager Jong van 't Schip. I think it's fair to say, if you'll excuse the pun, he has steadied the ship there really well since he came in at the end of October. Let's cross over to Luke Charlton now. Luke, you're going to give us an update on the goal.
Yes, and it's that man again, Brian Brobby. He's back on the score sheet just at the start of the second half to give Ajax a 2-0 lead over Pek Zwolle. It's rightly deserved. They've started the second half very, very strongly. There was a quick substitution earlier on at halftime. Borna Sosa, who came in for Christian Kleisen in this match, has actually been substituted for the same player to be brought in for the second half. And Ajax have started immediately on the front foot. Brilliant interchange of play. Brian Brobby is threaded through as the last man, playing on the half turn, on the shoulder. He's able to slot home for a second goal for his brace in the match to make it 2-0 to Ajax. And it's a mountain to climb now for Pek Zwolle. But as I said before the game, I was expecting goals in this match, and so far it's been delivering. And as we're so early in the second half, I'm expecting more going ahead if the game carries on in the manner it is at the moment. As it stands now, with 49 minutes gone, it's Ajax 2, Pek Zwolle 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Luke. We're going to cross to Glasgow now. We're going to talk to Mark Thomas, who is watching Rangers against Aberdeen, the Scottish League Cup final. It's still just about 1-0 to Rangers, holding on to their single goal advantage. Mark, are they looking comfortable?
They are looking comfortable. Aberdeen have been huffing and puffing since the goal after 76 minutes from Tavernier for Rangers, of course. But they haven't come close to blowing through the defence, to be honest with you. Butland has been very comfortable. A couple of crosses, he's come out and punched the ball away quite easily without too much pressure on him. Rangers look as if they're going to just play this one out. It's just a case of game management now as we head into the last minute of the game. With that saying, Aberdeen are on the attack. They're giving it everything they've got. Some balls flying around the area. We do have a corner. This may well be Aberdeen's last chance to get a goal. Still 1-0 with 1 minute left of extra time.
Thank you very much indeed, Mark. Rangers look set for some early season silverware in the Scottish League Cup final. We're going to go back to Jack Hesson because, Jack, while I was picking your brains about the structural issues at Manchester United, I forgot to give you time and space to mention a yellow card for Liverpool.
No, there has been a couple of yellow cards now in the game. Kobe Manu has just received one as well. The Nunez one basically barged right into Johnny Evans as he contested for the ball, and perhaps got a bit lucky as well because he then went to the referee and started exaggerating and clapping at the referee, which, as we've seen in the past, can also run the risk of a second yellow card in itself. So he potentially lucky there. The tackle there as well on Kobe Manu a minute ago, flying right in to Wataru Endo, a cynical challenge, and deserved a yellow card. So yeah, tensions are starting to fly in this game, but we're lacking chances at the moment. 27 minutes on the clock. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. We're going to go to over to Germany to get an update from Billy Andrews because the away side have had a chance to level things, Billy.
Yeah, the away side had a fantastic chance. It fell to the Algerian Fares Shaibi. And it was a fantastic ball over the top from Mario Götze, rolling back the years, the elder statesman now, I suppose. Lovely touch by Shaibi, and he just blazed it over the bar. Leverkusen looking for an offside flag that didn't come. And up the other end, another chance for Leverkusen. It was Florian Wirtz this time, the wonder boy for Xabi Alonso. He was running clear through. It was a fantastic run back from Niels Nkunku. And a fantastically well-timed tackle, actually, through the back of Florian Wirtz. Didn't touch the man, won the ball. Leverkusen struggling to create much after going 1-0 up, but Frankfurt coming back into this game. It is still, however, 1-0 to the home side.
Thank you very much, Billy. We'll have another chat with Jack Hesson in a second because there's been a chance for Liverpool. In fact, we'll go to you now, if that's okay, Jack, because there's an opportunity again for the home side.
Yeah, it's another chance from a corner, whipped in, great ball into the box. Virgil van Dijk right in the middle, gets his head onto it. If he goes with his left or his right, he might make it difficult for Onana, but he goes right into the centre where Onana is, and it's a relatively easy save for the Manchester United goalkeeper. Liverpool still knocking at the door, 28 minutes played. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much indeed. We're going to head to Mark Thomas, who is in Scotland, watching Rangers against Aberdeen. Mark, it's all got a little bit messy at the end of the game there, some slightly unsavoury scenes.
Yes, the tempers finally exploded here. We had a goalmouth scuffle. The corner came in. Butland fell on the ball. Then a whole bunch of players came charging in, and it's ended up with a free kick to Rangers. Handbags and more, I would say. Tempers overflowing. We did have a brief VAR check on a foul, but nothing was given. There's been 2 minutes of extra time here. Surely it's got to come to an end soon. It is Rangers holding on to that 1-0 lead right now, and they look set with just a few seconds left.
Thank you, Mark. And Luke Charlton's got an update for us in Amsterdam because there's been a yellow card for the home side.
Yes, it's gone to Steven Berghuis for a heavy tackle on a Pek Zwolle player, and who are pushing here for an opportunity to find themselves back in the game through a goal, and it's been given a free kick for Pek Zwolle from the tackle. It was a late challenge, and he was rightfully booked for it. But as it stands now in the 55th minute, it's still 2-0 to Ajax, and I think they're still fairly comfortable in this match as it is. But as I say, yes, 55th minute, Ajax 2, Pek Zwolle 0.
Thank you very much, Luke. 31 minutes have been played in our feature game in the Premier League. That's Liverpool, of course, at home to Manchester United. Liverpool have had 11 shots and managed to squeeze 2 of them on target. Manchester United, conversely, have had 2 shots on goal and haven't managed to get either of them on target yet. So a sign of Liverpool's dominance in these early exchanges, just over half an hour played. And if you do fancy a bet on this one, NairoBet have got your back. Liverpool are currently 1.44 for the win. 1.44 a home win at Anfield. It's 4.75 the draw, and a Manchester United win is still 7.5. So NairoBet really not fancying Manchester United's chances of an away victory in Anfield at all. And the stats, certainly the statistics of the shots so far in this game mirror their concern for Manchester United. The latest score in La Liga is Real Sociedad 1, Real Betis 0. But let's have another quick chat with Jack Hesson. I think, Jack, if we can get you in. Have you got, it sounds like it's been all Liverpool so far. Anything for Manchester United fans to get their hopes up about at all?
Yeah, Manchester United are just struggling to get into the game a bit. As I mentioned, they weathered that really early storm in the early couple of minutes from Liverpool. And Liverpool, they've kind of took the foot off the gas a bit since that starting moment, but they're still very much comfortable in the game. They've missed a couple of very decent chances. I mentioned the Van Dijk chance. Darwin Núñez has missed a couple of chances as well. But for Manchester United, those stats you read out there, yeah, they've not had anything going forward. They don't look like they've got anything going forward. I think Liverpool still need to be wary, though. I think there's mistakes in that back line, particularly Trent Alexander-Arnold, a great right back going forward, but it's prone to an error at the back. The thing is, Alejandro Garnacho playing at left wing really hasn't troubled him at all either. Manchester United just can't get to grips in the game, and I think they just need perhaps a bit of spell in possession. It is still 0-0, Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0 with 32 minutes gone.
Thank you, Jack. We're going to drop straight back over and have a catch up with Billy Andrews because he's got a yellow card to fill us in on that's been awarded to Mario Götze.
Yeah, the 31-year-old former Dortmund and Bayern star just clattered into the back of Ezequiel Palacios. So it's going to give a chance for either Jonas Hoffmann, but more likely Alejandro Grimaldo to have a pop at this free kick just outside the D. So I will come back to you once this has been taken to give you an update on how that went. Still 1-0 though.
Thank you very much, Billy. We're going to go up to Scotland again and talk to Mark Thomas, because the game between Rangers and Aberdeen has finally ended. Slightly unsavoury scenes on the cards there towards the end of the game, but a fantastic result for Rangers and some early season silverware for them. Mark, tell us more.
Yes, they've come through and skated through those last 14 minutes to pick up this 1-0 victory over the Dons. Philippe Clement picks up the trophy, and they're going to be heading back to Glasgow very, very happy. Their fans are celebrating with them now as the team stays on the field. Aberdeen really didn't do much going forward. Miovisky never got into the game. They really had no attacking rhythm, just relying on a few scrappy chances here and there. As you did mention, Alex, we did have that bit of a skirmish at the end of the game there, which was a little bit unsavory. But, it's a cup final, and tempers and frustration got the best of a few of the Aberdeen and Rangers players. But it's a soggy afternoon here, but Rangers fans will not be complaining about it as they win the Viaplay League Cup 1-0.
Thank you very much, Mark. Fantastic work this afternoon. I'm pleased to say there's been another goal in Amsterdam.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
This one has gone the way of the away side. Pek Zwolle have pulled one back in Amsterdam in their game against Ajax. They were 2-0 down a few moments ago, but they are now back in it and are currently trailing by 2-1. Luke Charlton is there for us and is going to give us an update on that goal. Luke.
Yes, and it's very much against the run of play. It's Lennart Thai. He's running through on a counter-attack. He's played in onto the right-hand side of the area after a loose ball is picked up by Pek Zwolle in the midfield. He played in on the right-hand channel, runs into the area, takes a right-footed shot, and it takes a big deflection, so it catches the goalkeeper, Deant Ramaj, off guard. It loops over his head and just trickles over the line in the bottom corner, the left-hand side of the net, to bring Pek Zwolle back into this game, massively so. And now it's only 2-1. We're really in for a frantic finish, I'd say, here, with the final half an hour of the match to go, and Pek Zwolle will certainly be pushing to find that equaliser. If they carry on this way, I think they're certainly in with a shout, because they're playing with a lot of energy and a lot of verve now, and this goal has really silenced the Johan Cruyff Arena and given them a bit more impetus going forward. So in the 61st minute now, it's Ajax 2, Pek Zwolle 1.
Thank you very much indeed, Luke. We're going to head to Anfield and have another chat with Jack Hesson, who is watching the game for us once I have updated you with a score in La Liga. It's actually Real Sociedad 0, Real Betis 0. VAR disallowed the goal, which had previously been given to Real Sociedad. So their contest against Real Betis is still goalless. Back up in Liverpool for us, though, Jack Hesson is at Manchester United's visit to Anfield, to Liverpool. We were talking earlier, Jack, about a few players who were struggling. Obviously, there's no Marcus Rashford in the starting lineup. That's been the case for a couple of weeks now. Alejandro Garnacho seems to have sort of cemented his place in the team on that left wing. How's he looked in these early exchanges?
Yeah, he's been quiet in the game. He had an early opportunity at the very start, around about 10-minute mark, just on the edge of the area, but it was a weak shot on goal. As I mentioned in the last update, he's not really tested Trent Alexander-Arnold. Sometimes if you get up against Alexander-Arnold at the back, there's mistakes in there, and he hasn't really shown that at all. Just tell you about a couple of chances there for Liverpool. Firstly, Sofyan Amrabat for Manchester United was booked for a foul on Luis Diaz. The resulting free kick whipped into the box, cleared by Man United. It fell to Gravenberch, who hit it on the volley, deflected out. It looked goal bound, and then the resulting corner whipped in for Konate, and Konate managed to get his head onto it. And that's been the story of the game for Liverpool so far. They've had 9 corners to Manchester United's 0, and they've had 66% of the ball as well. So it's all been Liverpool so far, but Manchester United just looking for something on the counter, but they've not looked that likely at the moment. 38 minutes on the clock. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Jack. If you do fancy a bet, there's 38 minutes played in that game so far. NairoBet have the odds at 1.44 for a Liverpool home win, 4.33 for the draw, and it's now 8.0 for a Manchester United win. All bets available on nairabet.com and are, of course, those odds subject to change, so do be wary of that. Jack just telling us there that Manchester United not really managing to get a foothold in the game yet this afternoon, really struggling at the moment. Another team that has been struggling in the league as well, of course, is Chelsea. Although they lost to Manchester United last week, of course, in the Premier League. They did turn their form around a little bit yesterday, though, with a pretty convincing 2-0 home win against Sheffield United. Here's what Mauricio Pochettino had to say afterwards.
I think I am happy because the players deserve the victory. They work really well during the week. They react. I think, like I told you yesterday in my press conference, we agree many things, and of course it's about to build our confidence. But at the same time, we need to realize the thing that we need to change if we want to improve. Yes, happy because 3 points for us is really important, and then because Tuesday we have a very important game against Newcastle that. Arrive with this victory is completely different. With a good feeling, it's so really important. With a confidence that we can go through also in the Carabao Cup.
Mauricio Pochettino there eschewing praise for his players and hoping that they can build on their results, their impressive 2-0 home victory, albeit against Sheffield United yesterday. He's optimistic that his side are in the ascendancy. One side you certainly cannot say are not in the ascendancy are Everton. They had a 10 points deduction earlier in the season for financial fair play irregularities, but as we said earlier, they are very much clear of the relegation zone now, with the 3 freshly promoted sides all looking to be struggling and more or less doomed for the drop given Everton's upturn in form recently. Here's what Sean Dyche had to say after his side's victory away in Burnley yesterday.
Yeah, delighted, particularly as a manager with the second half. You know, the tactical understanding of the side, a side that was pieced together. Yesterday morning, we lost Miko with a tight groin, and because we've got injuries and suspensions, we can't risk players at the minute. So we've had to change everything in a morning. So their acceptance to go and deliver a performance that can win was very pleasing. I think that's something we've worked upon certainly this pre-season and going into the season. Was the open-mindedness to be adaptable as a side and find ways of winning. And I think we're doing that. You know, I think with the players particularly, you know, they deserve a lot of credit, I think, at the moment for accepting the challenge and taking it on. And I thought we did that today.
Sean Dyche there, full of praise for his players' tactical nous. Everton are now on 16 points for the season. Incidentally, if they hadn't been deducted those points earlier in the season, they'd be just in and around 9th or 10th position, just ahead of Chelsea, whose manager we heard from a few moments ago. Let's head back to Anfield and have a check-in with Jack Hesson, who is there for us. Jack, it sounds like it's all been one-way traffic. Have Manchester United been able to improve at all since we last spoke?
No, and Liverpool had another decent chance there. Great move, front to back. Trent Alexander-Arnold moving the ball into the midfield to Endo. Endo finding Gravenberch on the right-hand side. Gravenberch into Salah, and Salah just finding the half space to go for the shot. He goes for it. It takes a little nick off the Manchester United defender. Almost sends it wayward for Onana, but he manages to get his gloves to it on that occasion. So Liverpool, once again knocking at the door, dominating possession, and all they really need to top off what's been a decent first half performance for them is a goal. 43 minutes played, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. Let's have a quick word with Billy Andrews, who a few minutes ago was telling us about a dangerous free kick for Bayer Leverkusen. They've gone pretty close by the sounds of it from that free kick, Billy, and been playing pretty well.
Yeah, Victor Boniface causing all sorts of problems for the defenders of Eintracht Frankfurt, but that free kick was taken by Alejandro Grimaldo. It just grazed the top of the crossbar. Not bad for a free signing, not bad for a left back. considering he's got 7 goals and 4 assists in the league this season. Him and his right-back partner, Jeremy Frimpong, 2 of the most attacking threats for Leverkusen today, along with Florian Wirtz and Victor Boniface. Eintracht Frankfurt really now struggling to get anything on the ball, resorting to long balls for Chaibi to chase onto, but Kasunu and Jonathan Tah are there to tidy them up. We're coming up to half-time. It's still 1-0 to Bayer Leverkusen.
Thank you very much indeed, Billy. While Leverkusen have dominated the ball, they've actually had 2 shots for both sides. So Bayer Leverkusen have had 2 shots and only managed 1 on target, which obviously was the goal that we brought to you earlier. And the same is said for Eintracht Frankfurt. So they've had 2 shots and 1 on target as well. So although they haven't been able to get a decent spell of possession together, got there in the end, they have been as effective in terms of goal mouth action as their opponents. So perhaps some cause for optimism for the away side. Just to remind you what's going on in the Premier League this afternoon, our feature game is, of course, the big one at Old Trafford. Liverpool at home to Manchester United. The odds on NairaBet on a Liverpool winner currently 1.5, 4.0 the draw, 8.0 Manchester United. Elsewhere, Bayer Leverkusen are currently a goal to the good against Eintracht Frankfurt. In La Liga, Las Palmas are a goal to the it's 0-0 in their game against Cadiz. In Italy, Bologna and Roma have played 15 minutes, and that game is still 0-0. There's 1 minute of added time been announced between Bayer Leverkusen and Frankfurt, but we're going to head to Jack Hesson, who is just overseeing the closing stages of the first half at Anfield. Jack, what can you tell us?
Yeah, well, we are on 45 minutes now, 2 minutes of added time, and yep, it has been all Liverpool so far in this first half. 67% possession. They've had 9 corner kicks. They've had 3 shots on goal. Some really great chances throughout the half. Manchester United struggling to get into it, but I suspect that they might be the happier of the two going into half time. On the cusp of half time, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Jack. It's half time now in the game between Bayer Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt, and it is still 1-0 to Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso's superb high-flying Bayer Leverkusen. Let's have a quick chat with Billy Andrews for his summary of the first half. Please, Billy.
Not the most glamorous of halves from Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen, but the scoreline he'll be happy with nonetheless. It was a fantastic, almost counter-attack move. Leverkusen won the ball back in their own half and found Ezequiel Palacios found Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz into the dangerous Victor Boniface. A couple of step-overs to get around Tuta, and he fired it quite tamely, actually, towards the goal. And Kevin Trapp, it bounced just in front of him and went under the goalkeeper, so he'll be disappointed. But Victor Boniface with his 9th goal of the season, the Super Eagles striker, now joint 4th. Of course, he's got the likes of Harry Kane and Serhou Guirassy ahead of him to contend with. A couple more chances. There was one for Chaibi of Eintracht Frankfurt. He volleyed it over at the top of the crossbar, and Alejandro Grimaldo grazed the top of the crossbar from a free kick. Plenty of action to come, and Xabi Alonso will expect more from his side in the second half. We could possibly see Super Eagle Nathan Teller come on in the second half as well. But at half-time, it's Leverkusen 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Thank you very much, Billy. Let's check back in with Jack Hesson at Anfield, who has news of a yellow card.
Yeah, half-time at Anfield, and just tell you about that yellow card that was for Liverpool midfielder Endo. The ball was loose just at the end of the half. Sofyan Amrabat of Manchester United tried to go for the ball with his head. Endo tries to go with his foot, and he ends up booting him right in the belly, and then received a yellow card for that. But that is now half-time at Anfield. I suspect Manchester United will be the happier of the two. Liverpool have had the majority of possession, 67% possession, 15 attempts on goal, 3 shots on target, 9 corner kicks. It's really been all Liverpool. Manchester United struggling to get a foothold. Some great chances missed by Darwin Nunez. Virgil van Dijk had a header on the edge of the area, as on the edge in the middle of the box as well, right into the grasp of Onana on 30 minutes, and that really has been the chances for Liverpool. They're looking for something clear-cut to try and take the lead, and I suspect Manchester United, with almost no chances in that first half, will be the happier of the two. Half-time at Anfield, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thanks, Jack. Let's just stay with you for a second, if I may. You say Manchester United will probably be the happier of the two sides, but I mean, really, that's just because presumably this half they will consider a bit of a lucky escape on the balance of it.
Yes, I think so. I think Liverpool haven't been as potent as they could be with the possession that they've had. They've had, as I mentioned, some decent chances, but nothing really clear-cut that you would expect to say, well, that person should have scored this or that person should have scored that. And for Manchester United, yeah, it's been a fairly woeful performance for them. I'm starting to think that the tactic here was to just try and frustrate Liverpool, to sit on the back foot. They are lucky that tactic is working at the moment, because really Liverpool should have took the lead with the possession and the chances that they have had, but they'll keep knocking at the door of the second half. For Manchester United, I think they might do a change of approach as the game goes to try and hit Liverpool on the counter, but at the moment you're struggling to see where the goals are going to come from if Manchester United are going to get anything this afternoon.
Yeah, I'll just stay with you for one more question, if I may, Jack. Sofian Amrabat he's come under a bit of criticism for his performances in recent games, particularly in Europe, not so much in the Premier League, because I think he played reasonably well in the game against Chelsea a couple of weeks ago, although Chelsea aren't exactly a team in particularly good form. What's his partnership with Kobe Mainoo looks like in that first half? Because moving forwards, that could be a key setup for Ten Hag.
Yeah, well, I think a bright spark for them. You mentioned Kobe Mainoo. I think he's had a relatively solid game in the midfield, and I think the midfield in general have kind of held up well for Manchester United. Amrabat, as you said, has been criticised, but you know, he is more of a sort of utility player. You don't expect fireworks from him when he plays. He's just supposed to be a hard kind of working midfield player that keeps things ticking. And when you look at that entire Manchester United midfield of Mainoo, McTominay, and Amrabat, of course, no Fernandes in the starting lineup, it's lacking a kind of attacking focus, but it's definitely kept a structure for Manchester United, which I think has kept it at 0-0. And yeah, I think if there's any kind of bright spark in that first half for Man United, I think it's been the pairing of Mainoo and Amrabat. I think especially Mainoo probably been Manchester United's best player. He's covered a lot of ground in that first half, but it's not really saying much given the performance of Manchester United so far.
Superb stuff, Jack. Thank you very much. We'll be joining you in a few minutes' time once the second half is underway there at Anfield. Lots of talk of Manchester United's youth academy players such as Kobe Mainoo, Scott McTominay and Alejandro Garnacho at the moment. They have become key players for Manchester United. A key player from the academy for Liverpool, of course, is Trent Alexander-Arnold, enjoying another bumper season. He's been trusted in midfield by Jurgen Klopp and Gareth Southgate on a couple of occasions, and is fancied by many to succeed Virgil van Dijk as the next Liverpool captain. He certainly is Liverpool through and through, I think it's fair to say. And here's what he had to say yesterday when the prospect of being Liverpool's next captain was raised to him.
Yeah, obviously talking about the vice captaincy is, you know, something that I'm incredibly proud of, and something that, you know, I've publicly stated in the past as well, that my ambition is to lead the club. So, you know, to be in the position I am now with the responsibility and the role that I've got is that I really enjoy. I've always enjoyed responsibility, and I feel that now to go and have to perform set standards on a day-to-day and be someone who, you know, the lads in the dressing room, and when they're lining up on a weekend, you know, look at me, look at where I am, and that's a player that we're happy to be on that side of the tunnel with, and that's all you can ask. And I think, you know, so far I've been able to, you know, to step up when needed. I think that's a true role of a leader, is to step up and be someone who can answer the questions for the team when they are asked them on the pitch and off the pitch. And it's no, it's an honour and a privilege to be in the position I am, but there's more ambitions for me.
Trent Alexander-Arnold there talking about the prospect of one day captaining Liverpool. It will certainly be a proud moment for him. He's a proud Liverpool boy, and it must be said, a magnificent footballer. But just to remind you that his Liverpool side are currently still goalless in their bid to get one over on their long-standing rivals, Manchester United. It's currently half-time there. Jack Hassan's been keeping us up to date with proceedings. Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0 at Anfield. 1.53 would be a home win on NairaBet. 3.75 the draw, 8.0 the away win for Manchester United. But given that they've only managed 2 shots in that first half to Liverpool's 15, certainly looks like that might actually be a pretty short price considering the likelihood of it happening. And just to remind you of our other 4:30 game, 5:30 game, Bayer Leverkusen are currently 1-0 up at home to Eintracht Frankfurt. And we're going to hand back to FJ now in Nigeria. We will see you guys shortly.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Yes, hello, welcome back to Football Live. We are bringing you games from all across Europe this afternoon. Our feature game is, of course, Liverpool against Manchester United at Anfield. We've been keeping you up to date with Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt, but I'm pleased to announce there's been another goal in Amsterdam.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
How about this for a turnaround? The mighty Ajax were 2-0 up and absolutely cruising, in the words of Luke Charlton, but they are now 2 goals all against Pek Zwolle. Luke Charlton is there. Luke, tell us what is going on.
Well, I thought there would be goals in this game, but I did not expect this level of drama. In the added minutes here, in the final moments of the game, Pek Zwolle have equalised to make it Ajax 2, Pek Zwolle 2, and it's that man again, Lennart Thai. He's risen highest. He's actually tried an overhead kick that's come scuffed off his shin and gone into the bottom corner to give Pek Zwolle an equaliser here and to potentially take home a point each from this match. When Ajax, as you say, looked like they were cruising, they were 2-0 up, and Pek Zwolle have found their way back into this match, and rightly so. It was a brilliant goal, really. It was played well down the right-hand side. Ajax didn't defend very well. A cross into the area was played onto the head of substitute Velios, who'd come on for Cruyff earlier on in the second half. And it was initially adjudged potentially to be a handball from him as he passed the ball into the path of Lennart Thai to overhead kick the ball into the bottom corner. But after a short VAR review, this one, unlike the previous goal review, it was given as a goal. And the Pek Zwolle fans have been celebrating wildly in the stands, and rightly so. They have brought this game back from the death, really, for themselves. And as we're now in the final moments of injury time, it looks like they're going to be sharing the spoils here, as it's 93 minutes played, Ajax 2, Pek Zwolle 2.
Thank you very much, Luke. There's also been a goal in Germany.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen have gone 2 goals to the good up at home against Eintracht Frankfurt. Billy Andrews is there for us. Billy, tell us how that second goal came about.
Well, it had been coming since the restart, Alex, and it's another fantastic team goal from Bayer Leverkusen. This time, Ezequiel Palacios finds Victor Boniface. His first time shot was saved by Kevin Trapp, but not pushed out far enough. And the prolific right wing back, Jeremy Frimpong, is there to tap into an empty net. He copied Victor Boniface's now very familiar celebration as he celebrated that goal. Leverkusen completely dominant in this early second half, minutes. And in fact, they've not beaten any team more at home than Eintracht Frankfurt. And currently, over the last 9 home games, it's an aggregate score of 34-5. 52 minutes gone. It's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Billy. A latest score from Serie A is Bologna 1, Roma 0. Nicola Moro has put the home side up against Jose Mourinho's Roma. Bologna lurking just behind the Romans in 7th position before the start of play, looking to leapfrog them with a victory there. We're going to go over to Anfield. 6 minutes or so of the second half have now been played. Jack, were there any signs of any substitutions at half time? That's my first question.
No substitutions for either side, and really the story of the second half so far is much the same as the first half. Liverpool starting as they mean to go on. They've been dominating possession, looking dangerous going forward. A couple of half chances though. Ball whipped into Salah at the back post. He found a run of Alexander-Arnold in towards the box. He gets it to Alexander-Arnold and then tries a driven shot towards the near post of Onana, and it just went wide. That's really the best chance so far Liverpool have had in the second half, but they are dominating possession, and Manchester United struggling once again to get a grip on this game. 53 minutes played, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you, Jack. We'll stay with you for a second. I was just going to pick your brains because both Kobbie Mainoo and Sofiane Amrabat have been booked in Manchester United's midfield now. Do you think Ten Hag not making substitutions at halftime is just is due to a lack of squad depth, or do you think there's more to it than that? Do you think it's possibly that he just thinks this is the team that's currently out on the pitch that has the best chance of winning this game?
I think it probably is depth, to be honest. They don't have the options to be able to bring on, as we know, Casemiro is injured and Bruno Fernandes is suspended, too many yellow cards, and you look at that bench, there's just no midfield options. Actually, Donny van de Beek, the man of course we were talking about earlier on in the game, who's on his way out, is really the only midfield option that they can bring on that they're aware of. And yeah, it's difficult for them because they're keeping two important cogs in the midfield, both on a yellow card. It really does run the risk of one tackle just going loose and one of them being branded a second yellow at the 10 men, and that would make it even harder for Manchester United in this game.
Yeah, it absolutely would. Scott McTominay is obviously turned into a pretty important player for Manchester United this season, scored some important goals. Has he been able to make more of an imprint on the second half than he was able to the first?
No, he's been extremely quiet in the game. I'm struggling to even remember a touch of the ball he had in the first half, and it's been much the same in the second half. He's playing a slightly deeper role. He is a midfielder who is more prone to going forward and being more attacking focused. And the problem really for Manchester United is that there's just no attacking focus on this game for a player like McTominay to really come into the game, and that's, I think, why he's been so quiet.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Thank you, Jack. We'll be coming back to you for updates over the next 40 minutes or so. We are going to go back to Luke Charlton in Amsterdam for a full-time report on an extraordinary game. Ajax going 2 goals to the good and succumbing eventually 2-all to PEC Zwolle. Luke, a fantastic game to be on top of. Tell us your thoughts and feelings about it.
Yeah, it was very much a brilliant watch today, and I think Ajax will certainly be kicking themselves that they haven't come away with all 3 points here, because they were cruising, the fact that it's now ended in a draw, they're really going to be only having themselves to blame. But PEC Zwolle had a really good account of themselves, and I think they really deserved the opportunities to kind of get back into the game, and it was very frantic, and it was clearly two teams that like to score a lot of goals, and maybe defence is not more of a secondary option for them. But it started out strongly from the home side with Ajax scoring, opening the scoring in the 37th minute through Brian Brobbey. It was a brilliant team build-up play. It was a lot of good interchange on the edge of the area, and a loose ball found its way into the path of Brian Brobbey to slot home in the bottom left corner. There was a lengthy VAR review potentially for an offside, and there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not the goal would count, but it was eventually given, and Ajax went in 1-0 up, and that was how it ended in the first half. But the second half, it was a very different game. I mean, it started off in very much the same fashion. possession with a second goal for Ajax very early on in the 48th minute, again through Brian Broby. Another brilliant build-up play from Ajax. A lot of quick interchanging of passes, and Benjamin Tahirovic was able to run into the area, lay it off to Brian Broby, who on the turn was able to use his left foot as well, slot the ball into the bottom corner, and make it 2-0 for Ajax. But PEC Zwolle very quickly were able to return back to the game and score 2 late goals ultimately, and a brilliant couple of strikes from Levert Thai to make it 2-2 here. And as it stands now, it's full time here at Ajax 2, PEC Zwolle 2.
Thank you very much for your fine work this afternoon, Luke. I'm going to head over to Germany now, because there's been another goal in Leverkusen.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, the goals powered by NairaBet and Bayer Leverkusen have notched a third goal of their own this afternoon. Billy Andrews is there for us. Billy, there was a bit of a VAR check, but eventually the goal's been given, and Leverkusen are 3 goals up.
3 goals to the good, and it's champagne football from Xabi Alonso's side. This time, it's Victor Boniface turning provider for Florian Wirtz, the man who got the assist for Boniface's goal. On the halfway line, he holds off the defender, Pacho, for Frankfurt. One lovely ball into Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz sees the oncoming Kevin Trapp, and a lovely, delicious, well-timed, well-measured hit over the top of the German international goalkeeper, made it 3-0 to Leverkusen. He also copied Victor Boniface's now iconic dance celebration. And there is some downside again for Eintracht Frankfurt. They're going to lose on loan from Leeds man Robin Koch. He's gone down with a knee injury, suffered it early in the first half, so that's going to be another loss for them, but it's absolute party football from Leverkusen. 60 minutes gone, 3-0 to the home side.
Thank you very much, Billy. Latest score in La Liga, Las Palmas 1, Cadiz 0. Let's go back to Old Trafford, where Jack Hesson is reporting for us. Liverpool against Manchester United. Jack, I feel like we've said lots of negative things about Manchester United this afternoon. Presumably, there's also plenty of positives to say about Liverpool, even though they haven't scored yet.
Well, there was the first glimpse there for Manchester United. Liverpool had numbers solid, lost the ball, caught out at the back. Trent Alexander-Arnold out of position. The ball played towards Garnacho. It looks like he's one-on-one, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold is just able to recover in time. So the first sign of any kind of threat from Manchester United, with Liverpool pushing numbers forward. Just as you came to me there was a penalty shout. The ball going into the box towards Dominik Szoboszlai, and it looks like he was tugged in the shirt by Amrabat, and it was obviously, of course, like any decision, it would have been checked, and it was ruled no penalty. So yeah, the game's getting a bit more interesting now with regards to Manchester United coming into it a little bit, but it's still been one-way traffic in terms of Liverpool dominating possession and dominating the chances so far. 60 minutes played, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Just wanted to ask you quickly about the performance of Ryan Gravenberch this afternoon. Obviously, Dominic Szoboszlai has been grabbing all the headlines in that new Liverpool group, but players like Endo and Gravenberch do slightly more of the how should I put this? The kind of less glamorous work in that Liverpool midfield. Has Gravenberch caught your eye at all this afternoon?
Yeah, he's looked interesting at points in the game. There was just a couple of minutes ago, he had a mazy run towards the box, which was eventually dealt with by the Manchester United defence. He's defensive, and he actually, as you come to me, he was down receiving treatment, and he is now actually coming off for Cody Gakpo. So it's a more attacking focused change there, and I believe the other substitution for Liverpool, Dominik Szoboszlai, is off, and Joe Gomez is on. So a defender on for one midfielder and a striker on for the other for Liverpool.
Lovely stuff, Jack. Thank you very much. It was perhaps inevitable in the build-up to this game at Anfield that Erik ten Hag would be questioned about the game last season, which saw Liverpool romp to a 7-0 victory over their arch rivals. Let's have a listen to hear what he said in the build-up to this evening's game.
Oh, I think everyone knows. I think everyone is highly motivated when you go to Anfield. It's a great place to go, and you know it's going to be tough. And I think that is everything what every top footballer wants. He wants to have that challenge. So you have to looking forward. And last year, of course, we take that in our memory, but you have to also take the benefit from it, learn from it, and on Sunday we can prove that.
Interesting that Erik ten Hag seemed to think that this game this afternoon was an opportunity for his side to prove that they had learned and grown from their experience going down 7-0 at Anfield back in March. 2 goals apiece from Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez and Mohamed Salah put Liverpool 6-0 up before Bobby Firmino rounded off the scoring that afternoon. No change in the scoreline there just yet. We'll be back in touch with Jack Hesson for another update in a few minutes' time. But before we do that, we're going to head to Germany and get an update from Billy Andrews about a couple of substitutions for Frankfurt.
Yeah, Robin Koch had to go off with that knee injury, so I'm sure our resident Leeds fan, Russ, will be a little bit upset about that one, but he's been replaced by Smolicic, and Mario Götze has been replaced by Elias Skiri, a more defensive-minded midfielder for Eintracht Frankfurt. A bit light on midfield options at the moment are Frankfurt, so that's possibly why they've opted to go for Donny van der Beek, but they really are now. It is just damage limitation from Eintracht Frankfurt. A far cry from the side that last week put 5 past Bayern Munich. In fact, they were the last team to put 5 past Bayern Munich back in 2019. But as we come up to the 65th minute, it's Bayer Leverkusen 3, Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Billy. Just to remind you once more, our feature game of the evening is Liverpool at home to Manchester United. The odds on nairabet.com at the moment say that a Liverpool win is 1.75. So obviously as the game ticks on, becoming increasingly less likely, but still pretty likely according to your laying bookmaker Nairabet. The draw has shot down to 2.75, so that's looking progressively more likely, obviously, and a Manchester United win is looking progressively less likely. That opened up at kickoff at about 7.0 and it's now 9.5. We are going to head back to Liverpool because Jack Hesson has got an update for us on a chance once again for the home side. Jack.
Yeah, it was a decent half chance there for Mohamed Salah. The ball towards Joe Gomez to unleash him on the right-hand side, darting towards the box, finds Salah just on the edge of the area, and he tries to go for a trademark turn in towards the area to curl it into the top left-hand corner, but it was a decent save for Onana. And yeah, in general, looking to see where the changes that Klopp has made and what it's changed to the shape. It looks like Trent Alexander-Arnold now playing in the midfield, Cody Gakpo alongside him, and Joe Gomez has moved in to right back. So it'll be interesting to see with Trent Alexander-Arnold in the midfield if that can make any difference for them. And in fact, just as you've came to me there, right on the outside of the area, it teed up so nicely there for Trent Alexander-Arnold to take the shot. It's a great drilled shot towards the bottom right hand corner, and it just goes to the edge. Onana beaten. If it hits the target, it's a goal. And yeah, that change clearly showing a positive change for Liverpool so far. 65 minutes played, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. 25 minutes or so of normal time left to play at Anfield. Just to remind you, it's still 0-0. Our other game currently ongoing is Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt, and Bayer Leverkusen are currently a pretty comfortable 3-0 up. Xabi Alonso's side dominating possession in that game, and now, of course, dominating on the scoreline as well, having perhaps not turned their chances, their possession into serious chances, particularly effectively in the first half, having gone, even though they went a goal up in it, I should say. This is Football Live.
You are listening.
You are listening
You are listening
to Football Live.
to Football Live
to Football Live.
on Brila FM.
We have an early Christmas cracker for you next Sunday afternoon. It's the Football Live Christmas special with myself, Barry Swain, and we'll have Chelsea in the thick of the action. They take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League at Molineux. We'll also have some SPFL action to get our teeth into, Motherwell against Rangers. And we go all festive. We're not going to be eating turkey, we're going to be going to Turkey. The Turkish Super League, Demirspor against Antalyaspor, and there will be 3 Nigerian players playing in the Azerbaijan League. Don't worry, we've got it all covered next Sunday afternoon in the Football Live Christmas special. Be sure to join me, Barry Swain, next Sunday from 1:30 in the afternoon.
Christmas time is for giving out presents, and NairaBet are giving away up to 91,500 Naira in free bets. To enter, just place a bet with the same number of selections as the day of the month. It is that easy. So on the 24th of December, if you place a bet with 24 selections, you will receive up to a 250% match of your stake as a free bet. Head over to www.nairabet.com to get involved today. Must be over 18. Minimum odds per selection of 1.2. Minimum total bet slip odds of 1.5. Qualifying bets must be settled on that specific day. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
And you could not have scripted this.
It's a very erotic voice, by the way.
And Sean Dyson.
I have gravel for breakfast.
Liverpool leaving gaps left, right and centre.
Unbelievable.
Oh, Liverpool fans. Oh, Liverpool fans. Your emotions must be going all over the place.
Boom.
Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. This is just incredible.
We lack belief.
You'll struggle to find a better team in form than Unai Emery's Aston Villa.
But very happy. It's very good.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Yes, welcome back to Football Live. Alex Guildford here sitting in for Josh Bailey. We're going to go to Anfield, where completely against the run of play, Manchester United could, perhaps should be a goal up, Jack Hesson.
Yeah, I think Højlund has to do better there. A great bit of play there for Manchester United, completely unlocks the Liverpool defence. It was Luke Shaw on the right-hand side. He takes the ball towards the middle of the park. McTominay just on the edge of the area, finds the run of Højlund into the box, plays a perfect pass. Højlund, the goal at his mercy, he hits it straight at Alisson, and the rebound just misses him. If he gets the rebound, then he would have had an open goal to try and get it in the back of the net, but it was just away from him. So yeah, look, Liverpool have dominated this game. They've dominated possession, they've dominated the stats, but Manchester United are not out of this yet, and Liverpool showing some defensive frailties whenever United are able to go forward now. 69 minutes on the clock, it's Liverpool now, Manchester United now.
Thank you very much, Jack. And let's go over to Germany, where Billy Andrews has news for us. It's been end-to-end stuff by the sounds of it, Billy.
Yeah, despite being 3-0 down, Eintracht Frankfurt giving a good account of themselves. They just had a fantastic chance through Fares Chaibi. Put it onto his right foot and bent one towards that far corner, but it was a fantastic save by Lukas Hradecky. Up the other end, Victor Boniface had a chance to get his second of the game, but he was just crowded out by Pacho, the defender for Frankfurt. And now we're going to see Patrick Schick come on, possibly to replace Victor Boniface, who, let's not forget, they will lose Victor Boniface in January for the African Cup of Nations. It is Boniface for Patrick Schick, so Patrick Schick will have that starting number 9 place back. We'll see if he can find the sort of form he had a couple years ago. But as we come up to the final 20 or so minutes, Leverkusen 3, Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Bayer Leverkusen very much in cruise control at home to Eintracht Frankfurt. Marcus Rashford, by the way, has come on for Manchester United in place of Alejandro Garnacho. So some changes being rung finally as far as Manchester United fans are concerned. Alejandro Garnacho making way for fellow academy graduate Marcus Rashford, who's been pretty rotten. He's been in pretty rotten form recently, hasn't he? Manchester United's game at Anfield against Liverpool is, of course, our feature game of the evening. Our feature game earlier today in the afternoon was Arsenal against Brighton. Arsenal eventually running out pretty comfortable 2-0 winners, although they perhaps should have put the game to bed a little bit earlier than they did. Let's have a listen to the post-match reaction from Mikel Arteta.
Outstanding, incredible from the start to the end. Big compliment to the team, to the players against our top side. I think we had an incredible performance, and we fully deserve to win the game, I think. And I have to praise them because I know how difficult it is and what Brighton does to teams, and we didn't allow that to happen, so I'm super happy. Well, he wanted to celebrate his beautiful birthday today in a great way, and he's done it, and with a win, with a huge performance, and not only him. I think the team individually, against this team individually, the way they play, the way they press you, they go man to man, you have to be so good, so accurate, so precise, so intelligent to do what we have done today, and they've done it.
Mikel Arteta there, full of praise for his side and their resilience and their domination in their game at home to Brighton. Aston Villa were playing at the same time, and Arsenal's former manager, of course, Unai Emery, is now in charge there and overseeing something of a golden run of form. They were a goal down at Brentford, but eventually ran out 2-1 winners, and both sides finished the game with 10 men. Let's hear what Unai Emery had to say after the game.
Good evening. Very happy, and it's very difficult to win away, and really 90 minutes happened a lot of things. But the first half, when we were losing, in the session we were speaking about how we could improve something we did not very good in the first half, but overall we were controlling of the game, we were getting their box, we were creating some chances. As well, we conceded 2 or 3 chances of them we needed to avoid it. And the second half, really, we were progressively controlling of the game. And when they received the red card as well, we pushed a little more, and we came back the result. I think deserving it. And at the last moment, we were a little bit excited, a little bit some provocation of everybody, and I think we need it as well.
Interesting there, Unai Emery's thoughts on his side's success away at Brentford, mentioning a little bit of provocation. There were certainly some slightly unsavoury scenes in that game. As I mentioned, both teams ended the game with 10 men. Both managers received yellow cards for their involvements in a fracas. We're going to go to Billy Andrews in a minute, but before we do that, we'll get an update from Jack Hesson from Anfield. Let's have another chat with you, Jack, because we've got 15 minutes of normal time left to play. What's the status at the moment of the game?
Yeah, at the moment, it's been the same as the game has been going. Liverpool have had most of the possession, most of the chances, but Manchester United, I think, now are really starting to frustrate them. And as time ticks on, the chances for Liverpool are starting to dry up a little bit. There was a decent chance there from Salah in the box. He tried to curve it into the top right-hand corner. Well saved by Onana. But yeah, it's been difficult for Liverpool now in the past 15-20 minutes to sort of muster chances. And as I mentioned, Manchester United going forward a little bit now looks slightly more dangerous, and they'll be hoping now that Rashford's on the park that he can show some of that form from last season and try and get them a goal. You have to watch as well, because late goals have been a thing for Liverpool this season. So as the time ticks on, you really cannot write them off in this game. 75 minutes played, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
It's going to be a fascinating final 15 minutes up in Anfield. But there's plenty of drama going on in Germany. Billy Andrews is there for us. Billy, there's a couple of claims for a penalty, possibly 2. What is going on in Germany?
Yeah, a couple of penalty claims for Bayer Leverkusen in about as many minutes in 2 minutes, but both of them nothing really given. The first one, the ball flicked up off Florian Wirtz and hit the hand of Pacho. It was down by his side, it was never going to be given. The second one that VAR did have a quick look at, Ansgar Knauf up against Alejandro Grimaldo. Ansgar Gnauf went over, just fell on the ball, and it did touch his elbow, but it was never going to be a penalty. But there was a chance for a fourth, and it was a chance for Patrick Schick. Lovely ball in from Jeremy Frimpong. Free header, stood there and just put it inches wide. Kevin Trapp didn't even move, but as we approach the final 15 minutes, it's still 3-0 to the home side.
Final 15 minutes or so of the game in Leverkusen and the game at Anfield between Liverpool and Manchester United, in which Liverpool have had 26 shots, 6 of which they've managed on target, which is as many shots as Manchester United have had at goal entirely. They've had 6 shots and only managed to get 1 of them on target this afternoon. Just to remind you of the scores in the earlier games, it was Arsenal 2, Brighton 0, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2, West Ham 3, Wolves 0, and it is still 0-0 between Liverpool and Manchester United. If you're interested in having a bet on that one, NairoBet currently price Liverpool victory at 2.3, so extending, becoming less and less likely as the game wears on. The draw is now 1.95, and with only 12 minutes left to play and the game goalless, you can see why that is so short. Manchester United's chances of winning the game, however, seem to continue to extend and are around 10.0 now. So Manchester United just getting a bit of a foothold in the game, as it were, just improving slightly in the first half performance. Certainly seem to be finding a little bit more space and having a little bit more joy on the counter-attack as Liverpool start to tire very slightly. They play a very high-octane game, don't they? Liverpool play the game at 100 miles an hour, so a little bit of fatigue setting in that Manchester United are trying to or looking to exploit. Let's go back to Jack Hesson for an update on what's going on between Liverpool and Manchester United. Jack, I know we haven't spoken all that long ago, really, but you mentioned that Marcus Rashford had come on for Alejandro Garnacho. There's a couple of Liverpool substitutions earlier as well, a couple more, I think, it might be inbound. Have those had an effect on the game in a positive sense?
Yeah, well, it's Cody Gakpo in the midfield has looked promising. Liverpool, again, getting 2 really big chances there. The first one, Salah into Darwin Nunez. Nunez takes a big touch, almost picked up by Diaz. Diaz gets a shot away, and Amrabat flies in to stop it from going into the goal. The resulting corner falls to Konate in the middle of the box. He takes a touch, turns towards the goal and hits it towards, but Onana is able to save that. And there has been a couple of substitutions as well for Liverpool just there. Darwin Nunez is now being taken off. He's missed a couple of big chances today, and he's replaced by Harvey Elliott, and Luis Diaz also off for Curtis Jones. So with 10 minutes to go, as we know, Liverpool late scorers so far this season, 14 goals past 76 minutes so far this season, and with 10 minutes to go, they'll be looking for another one here. Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Superb stuff, Jack. I'm just looking at Manchester United's substitutes bench this evening. Obviously, Marcus Rashford has already come on. So apart from him, their substitutes bench is Bayindir, the Turkish goalkeeper. You've got Sergio Reguilon, Facundo Pellistri, who obviously is very highly rated but is pretty unproven at senior level. Donny van der Beek, who we talked about earlier. Then they've got youth players Gore, Mejbri and Kambwala. Doesn't bode particularly well for Manchester United, and you have to say you've got to be disappointed if you're a fan of theirs, haven't you? Because you think of all the investment that the owners have made in the team, and you've got a pretty uninspiring substitutes bench.
Yeah, of course, and there has been injuries, of course. There's a number of players out at the moment. Mason Mount, Leandro Martinez, Martial, Harry Maguire's out with a groin injury. Bruno Fernandes is out as well. He's suspended. Christian Eriksen's out. There's a number of players missing from the squad, but yeah, it's got to that point now for Manchester United. They're going into a big game against Liverpool away from home, and they just have no options to bring on. They've been lucky considering that 2 midfielders Amrabat and Menu have both been on yellow cards, that they've kept their discipline so far in this game, because there's just no options for Ten Hag to be able to make any kind of changes in the game so far.
Well, I wonder what you made of Bruno Fernandes' suspension against Liverpool this evening. He came under quite a lot of criticism for picking up a yellow card, which led to a suspension last weekend. People, saying that he should be setting an example in this team because he's a captain. But I suppose many people will say that if you take that side of Bruno Fernandes' game away from him, he maybe doesn't look like quite the same player with the ball at his feet. What do you think of that theory?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's all on him. It's not as if in the game it was a red card. It was obviously too many yellow cards, and that can happen in football, especially with the way that Fernandes plays. I don't think that they would want to change the way he plays. These things can happen, of course, but that being said, they have certainly missed his influence in the game. And just tell you another couple of substitutions: Menu and Antony are now off, and just looking to see Pellistri is also came on as well. So Manchester United trying to ring the changes to see if there's anything that they can do to get themselves ahead in this game, but really it looks like they're looking for that 0-0 draw. 82 minutes on the clock, still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Jack. We're going to go back to Billy Andrews in Germany, because Billy, you've got news of another opportunity for the home side, as well as an exciting substitution as far as Leverkusen fans are concerned, and Nigerian football fans as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that first. Jeremy Frimpong has gone off to be replaced by Super Eagle Nathan Teller. They've also seen Ezekiel Palacios and Jonas Hoffmann go off to be replaced by Piero Hincapié and Adam Hodzik. But a couple of chances. One, it was Jeremy Frimpong again marauding down that right-hand side. He crossed it in, it was just behind Patrick Schick. And the second one was Florian Wirtz again, tried to recreate his first goal, but he just cannoned it off the bar. Kevin Trapp nowhere near it. And just another little stat, because we love them on Football Live. After scoring today, Jeremy Frimpong has 7 goals and 9 assists in 21 games. So he's the ultimate wing back for Leverkusen. They're going dangerous again. Granit Xhaka has just hit the post, so they've hit the woodwork twice now, Leverkusen. Kevin Trapp didn't even move for that one. That was Nathan Teller with a lovely mazy run. But we approach the final 5 or so minutes. Leverkusen 3, Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Thank you, Billy. We were just getting an update from Jack Hesson a few moments ago about a couple of substitutions at Manchester United. He mentioned that Facundo Pellistri had come on for Antony. Kobe Mainoo has gone off for the youngster Mejbri as well. So there were 2 substitutions. Hannibal Mejbri, it is, of course, is now on in midfield in, sort of like for like almost, both in terms of age and in terms of experience, but also in terms of position as well. Although Hannibal Mejbri is slightly more attacking player, isn't he? Slightly more attacking minded. So Scott McTominay probably dropping a little further back into midfield. Closing stages of the game at Anfield. It is still 0-0, we think, although betting, or NairoBet, I was about to give you a betting show there, has been suspended, or it's back up again now. So a Liverpool win is 3.2 at the moment. The draw is 1.6, certainly looks the most likely outcome at the moment. And a Manchester United win has just gone out to 10.0 from 9.5. So certainly not looking great for Manchester United fans at the moment, but I think they'll possibly just be grateful that it hasn't been an embarrassment out there, because when they lost 7-0 at Anfield back in March of this year, you have to say that you would probably consider that to be more than an embarrassment. And we heard Erik ten Hag saying earlier that he wanted his side to go out there and prove that they had learned from that experience. So I suppose every cloud has a silver lining and all that, and you can probably say that certainly Manchester United are not going to lose that game 7-0. So I suppose that's improvements of sorts. We'll get another update from Jack Hesson in just a few minutes' time. In fact, we'll do that once. In fact, we'll do that now, Jack. You right to give us a quick update?
Yep, still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0. Klopp looking frustrated on the touchline at the moment as they're struggling to get chances now. Liverpool on goal, they're still dominating possession, but Manchester United have said that they've got to be wary on the counter-attack. United could easily break away. The Liverpool defences look shaky whenever they've been challenged, but nonetheless it has been all Liverpool so far in this game, and they certainly look like the more likely team to score at the moment. But Jurgen Klopp looking frustrated on that touchline. 87 minutes on the clock, it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
You are listening.
You are listening
You are listening
to Football Live.
to Football Live
to Football Live.
on Brila FM.
We have an early Christmas cracker for you next Sunday afternoon. It's the Football Live Christmas special with myself, Barry Swain, and we'll have Chelsea in the thick of the action. They take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League at Molineux. We'll also have some SPFL action to get our teeth into. Motherwell against Rangers. And we go all festive. We're not going to be eating turkey. We're going to be going to Turkey. The Turkish Super League, Demirspor against Antalyaspor. And there will be 3 Nigerian players playing in the Azerbaijan League. Don't worry, we've got it all covered next Sunday afternoon in the Football Live Christmas special. Be sure to join me, Barry Swain, next Sunday from 1:30 in the afternoon.
Christmas time is for giving out presents, and NairaBet are giving away up to 91,500 Naira in free bets. To enter, just place a bet with the same number of selections as the day of the month. It is that easy. So on the 24th of December, if you place a bet with 24 selections, you will receive up to a 250% match of your stake as a free bet. Head over to www.nairabet.com to get involved today. Must be over 18. Minimum odds per selection of 1.2. Minimum total bet slip odds of 1.5. Qualifying bets must be settled on that specific day. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
And you could not have scripted this.
It's a very erotic voice, by the way.
And Sean Dice.
I have gravel for breakfast.
Liverpool are leaving gaps left, right and centre.
Unbelievable.
Oh, Liverpool fans. Oh, Liverpool fans. Your emotions must be going all over the place.
Boom.
Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. This is just incredible.
We lack belief.
You'll struggle to find a better team in form than Unai Emery's Aston Villa.
But very happy, it's very good.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday on Brila FM with Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Josh Bailey.
Alex Guildford here on Football Live, sitting in for Josh Bailey. We've got 2 games still currently ongoing. One at Anfield, Liverpool against Manchester United, the other in Germany, Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt. We're going to go and have a chat with Jack Hesson once more up at Anfield, because Jack, you've got an update for us. I mentioned earlier that the betting was suspended on that game. There was a brief VAR check for handball.
Yeah, it was Tsimikas on the left-hand side, whipped the ball into the box, it then deflected off the ground and then onto Luke Shaw's hand. There's no question that it did hit his arm, but it bounced off the ground first onto his arm and was therefore quickly checked and given as no penalty. An instant then with Luke Shaw involved further up the park in the midfield. Konate picked the ball up, looked like he was going to advance from the midfield, and Luke Shaw just brought him down cynically and received a yellow card in order to stop the attack. We are now going in towards 90 minutes on the clock. I don't expect there to be a massive amount of added time, so the clock is ticking for Liverpool to try and get a win today. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0, and there's 5 minutes added time.
Thank you very much, Jack. We'll be coming back to you for another update before too long. But before we do that, let's have another word with Billy Andrews, because there's been another chance for the very dominant Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, this time it fell to Edmund Tapsoba. There was a free kick given away cheaply by Ansgar Canal for a foul on Nadim Amiri, who replaced Florian Wirtz. Whipped in by Alejandro Grimaldo. Nobody marked Edmund Tapsoba at the back post, and he could only put it wide of the back post. So that wait for a first goal of the season for Tapsoba goes on. It is very much a case of seeing the game out now for Bayer Leverkusen. We're 2 minutes into 5 minutes of added on time at the Bayer Arena. Bayer Leverkusen 3. They're going 7 points clear at the top of the table. Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Billy. Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen still extremely dominant in their game against Eintracht Frankfurt. We shouldn't underestimate what a good performance that is, by the way, because don't forget that Bayern Munich, who playing Stuttgart later on this evening, lost 5-1 away at Eintracht Frankfurt last week. So a very, very good side indeed that Xabi Alonso's men are putting to the sword over in Germany. Latest score for you in Serie A, 58 minutes played. It's Bologna 2, Roma 0. Jose Mourinho's men look to be losing their early season, I was going to say a European slot 6-pointer. It doesn't exactly trip off the tongue, but Bologna winning will see them move up to 6th ahead of Roma, who will be relegated down to 7th place. Just to remind you, our featured game of the evening is at Anfield. It's Liverpool against Manchester United. We are going to go back to Jack Hesson, and he's got an update for us because there's been another chance for Liverpool, but they haven't managed to bury it again, Jack.
Yeah, it was a free kick in a dangerous area given away by Marcus Rashford on a foul on Tsimikas. He received a yellow card for that challenge. The ball whipped in by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Cody Gakpo in the middle of the box. Free header. He just has to guide it towards the target and it drifts wide for him. Another great chance for Liverpool. Time is ticking for them now. 92 minutes on the clock. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. 5 minutes of injury time was signalled. 2 minutes of it have been played so far. It's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0. We might have an update for you by the sounds of things coming there in just a moment or two before we can go over to Jack Hesson, because there's been a VAR review that sounds like it's gone against Manchester United. We'll be crossing back to Liverpool before too long. Just remind you, our feature game earlier was Arsenal 2, Brighton 0. That finished Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2, West Ham 3, Wolves 0. And I can confirm that the red card has been given at Anfield, and it has been given in favour of Liverpool. So Manchester United have gone down to 10 men in the dying embers of the game. They've held on against the odds. They've been very much second best in the game between the two sides this evening. Liverpool have absolutely dominated the ball in more or less every single way now. 69% possessions, 34 shots at goal, 8 of which were on target, 12 corners. Manchester United have had 0 corners in this game. They've only managed 1 shot on target to Liverpool's 8, and a total of 6 shots at goal. It's Diogo Dalot who's been given the red card here. So let's go and have a word of Jack Hesson. Jack, has not long left in this game, but plenty of nail-biting drama towards the end of it. Tell us more.
Yeah, it was quite simply a ridiculous yellow card for Dalot to pick up there. It was poor play from him. He was contesting with Salah on the ball. As the ball came long towards Salah, he managed to see the ball out of play, but then the throw-in was giving to Liverpool. He thought it should have been given to Manchester United, and he reacted angrily, shouting towards referee Michael Oliver. Michael Oliver, having none of it, gave him a second yellow card. So poor play from Dalot to receive that second yellow card, and it sums up really an ill-disciplined day for Manchester United. That's a number of bookings so far, and they are still looking like they'll potentially see this out here. 95 minutes on the clock. I expect a few more minutes of added time due to that delay, and it's still Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Yeah, silly play by the sounds of it from Diogo Dalot up at Anfield. Childish, petulant stuff there. we will have an update. Let's go over to Billy Andrews in Germany. Oh, in fact, I can tell you that it's full time now in that game between Manchester United and Liverpool. The game has ended 0-0. So plenty of talking points from that game. Not necessarily a particularly convincing performance from Manchester United in our feature game of the afternoon. They've gone down to 10 men in the dying embers of the game, but they still take a point back with them when they cross over to Manchester, which I think if you'd offered most Manchester United fans that before the game, they'd have snatched your hand off. Liverpool had 34 shots in total to Manchester United's 6. Liverpool managing to steer 8 of theirs on target. Manchester United just able to get 1. Billy Andrews is in Germany for us. We'll get a full-time report from him in a minute or two. But first of all, let's go back to Jack Hesson for the lowdown on an interesting game. I think it's slightly disappointing when you consider the hope before kickoff really was for a pretty entertaining spectacle ultimately, as these games can often be, though. It's panned out and it's been a slightly disappointing one as far as the neutral fan is concerned anyway, Jack, but ultimately Manchester United fans will probably go home feeling like it's a point won rather than 2 lost.
Yeah, I certainly think so. It was a dominating performance from Liverpool, really from the start to finish. But Manchester United, to their credit, defended really well. Liverpool didn't have a lot of great clear-cut chances, but they certainly had enough where they should have at least got a goal from the game. As you mentioned, 34 attempts, 8 shots on target, and expected goals of 2.66 to Manchester United's 0.52. 68% of the ball to Manchester United's 32%. It's clear that Liverpool should have taken their chances in this game, but Manchester United will potentially be the happier of the two. They had a great chance with Højlund in the second half, well saved by Alisson. Really the only thing that he had to do in this game, and his only shot on goal. And of course, that mad red card at the end of the game, a second yellow given to Dalot for a reaction when the throw-in was not given to Manchester United. He believed it should have been Michael Oliver giving him a second yellow card, and it rounded off a number of bookings in that game. So yeah, Liverpool, great chances for Darwin Núñez to try and score. A chance for Diaz, deflected away by the Manchester United defence in the second half. But apart from that, nothing really to show for their dominance in this game, and Manchester United will certainly walk away the happier of the two. Full time at Anfield, it's Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0.
Thank you very much for your superb work this afternoon, Jack, up at Anfield for us, where Liverpool and Manchester United have just seen out a slightly dull 0-0 draw, but that, as ever, doesn't quite tell the full story. We're going to go back to Billy Andrews in Germany, who's been watching Bayer Leverkusen against Frankfurt. Billy.
Yeah, comprehensive 3-0 win for Xabi Alonso's men. It only took them 14 minutes of a bit of a basketball opening, to be honest, but then Florian Wirtz found Victor Boniface, and his shot came, to be honest, towards Kevin Trapp, bobbled in front of the German keeper and went in for his 9th goal of the season for the Super Eagles star. And then after half-time, the floodgates sort of opened and the party football came out for Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen. Jeremy Frimpong tapping into an empty net after Victor Boniface's shot was saved, this time by Kevin Trapp. And then 6 minutes later, Florian Wirtz getting on the end of a pass from Victor Boniface, and this time dinking it over the top of the oncoming Kevin Trapp. There was a penalty awarded at the end of the game, but VAR took a look, and to his credit, Pacho got back and won the ball fairly. They're 7 points clear at the top over Bayern Munich, who play kick-off in just 2 minutes actually, but they'll go into the winter break as the winter champions, or Herbstmeister. They finished at the Bayer Arena. Bayer Leverkusen 3, Eintracht Frankfurt 0.
Thank you very much for your superb work this evening as ever, Billy Andrews. just about coming towards the end of the show now. Just to remind you of what happened this afternoon. Our feature game in the early kickoffs was Arsenal against Brighton and Hove Albion. Arsenal rounding out 2-0 winners. Brentford and Aston Villa then contested a slightly ill-tempered contest. Villa eventually running out 2-1 victors, and both sides ending the game with 10 men. West Ham United continued their fine form from midweek and completely turned around their result last weekend when they went down 5-0 to Fulham and put on an impressive display to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers, I should say, 3-0. And then in our feature game of the evening, Liverpool and Manchester United played out a slightly dull 0-0 draw at Anfield. We also brought you Rangers against Aberdeen, which saw Rangers win the Scottish League Cup. Ajax and PEC Zwolle fought out an entertaining 2-2 draw, with Ajax going 2-0 up, but Zwolle fighting back. And then, as Billy Andrews was telling us just then, Bayer Leverkusen ran out comfortable winners at home to Frankfurt, and Bayern Munich are now very much chasing their coattails. So just enough time for me to say an enormous thank you to all of our reporters for their fine work this afternoon. Big thanks to producer John and Barry Swain as well. And of course, a big thank you to Brilla FM and all of our wonderful listeners. That's all from me. Have a great rest of your weekend, one and all.